White Walker-perpetuated offenses are considered especially heinous. In Westeros, 4 dedicated friends investigate and discuss these vicious episodes as members of an elite squad known as A Podcast Has No Name.
What's going on, you guys? This is Ambush.
Oh, yeah, I'm next. This is Curly Castro.
Lord. And you're listening to A Podcast Has No Name.
Podcast Has No Name.
Podcast Has No Name.
See, that was my choice. It could have been done. That was my choice.
That was definitely my choice.
We're definitely part of the, all right, is it 1, 2, 3 and go? Is it 1, 2 and go on 3? Or is it like...
Is it 1, 2, go?
1, 2, go. I don't know.
I just can't tell. Okay, so this Beyond the Wall, which is it only me that now has the Behind the Wall Dogtown song from the Oz soundtrack stuck in my head?
No, yes.
Is it just me?
The Dogtown song from the Oz soundtrack. Like, that's in the corner of the back room of the corner. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, wait.
There.
We have to say we are missing one of our strong 4, House Niggering. Yes,
our beloved.
Under the weather.
Yeah.
And I would like to dedicate this episode to my missing cat. May she return home like Nymeria.
God damn it.
I'm serious, okay. That's the only thing I got right now.
You are, and I don't want to laugh.
Wolf hope. No, I know, but it is ridiculous considering, House Negro and stuff. That's what Am is still laughing at.
Yeah, I'm laughing at that and how it went from you were clearly talking about Afro and rolled right in. Like I was what we talking about? Okay. That was wild.
I thought he was going to dedicate the episode to our missing cast member,
right?
And then went a different way.
He went
left.
Well, our cast member, I know where she's at.
Afro's a little under the weather, so she's not able to join us on this episode.
She's been jet setting,
sorely missed,
globe trotting. So we think she's just a little. Just worn down from all the travel.
Yeah. That's why you guys got to hang out a little bit.
Yes, I did. I got to see my long-lost sister. I ain't seen her in years. She had an event. It was a great event. It was donuts and pastries and Legos. Go on Facebook.
And Legos?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the cats there was a Lego artist. I actually went to high school with him.
Wow.
So, yeah. Huh. And while you guys were busting it up at the Fortune and Pastries event, I did the live tweeting. Man, it was challenging, Castro. I had a lot of fun reading your tweets, rewatching the episode, and I wanted to make sure I was going to be at least as entertaining. But man, that was fun. Live tweeting is definitely fun.
You both were super entertaining.
Yeah, no, I am. I was digging your stuff. It's it's hard to keep up because it's hard to watch if you're watching a little late. So you got to kind of scroll down and refresh and not look because you want to line up the tweet with the point in the show. But no, I think that's a good additive to our little social experiment. There is a podcast with no name, so I think the live tweeting we should keep it up.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump into it. MJ.
Beyond the Wall. So it opens with that crazy view of the big 3D map, basically, in Dragonstone. And that transition into the Suicide Squad or Magnificent Seven or whoever you want to call them. I like to call them the Wall Squad.
Ocean's 11.
I'm sorry, one more time?
Ocean's 11.
Notions. Like
Notions.
No, Snowshin. Like snow.
Snowshin.
Snowshin's 11.
I found that online. I won't take credit for it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm calling them the Wall Squad just because I'm not as clever as Snowshin's 11. But that transition into them walking was super dope to me. And this particular episode, we end up getting a bunch of dialogue in short little spurts that I loved. So we start with Jon and Tormund, who, I mean, is there a person who doesn't love Tormund? Like, he is the best.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're talking about, leadership, and they start talking about Mace Raider, and Tormund brings a call back and says how many of his men had to die for his pride. Which, Castro, I believe you will be able to correct me. Is that was Stannis that said that to Mace Raider?
I think Stannis was saying that about Mace. No, it could have been him about Mace Raider, like with Jon. Just but just a statement for. Oh no, actually. Oh, funny thing is, it's actually Jon that said it. I'm remembering.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yes. Jon is actually one that said it. Yeah.
So such a great callback for Tormund to then say it
Jon
to
said
Jon.
Jon said that to Mace. Jon said it to Mace Raider when he was trying to parlay with him about just surrendering.
Right. Now, that is what I remember. Yeah. I saw a picture earlier somewhere, and it looked like the way that the sequence was like Stannis was the person that said that, and I didn't remember it that way. So, anyway.
Right.
I thought that was a fantastic callback, because as soon as he said it, I knew that was a quote we've heard. I knew we had been there before. And it's true. I mean, that is part of the Game of Thrones, is that everybody is so prideful. They don't fucking care about anyone else. And it appears as if Jon is not that kind of leader. But I think it's interesting that happened right in the very beginning of this episode.
You put Tormund on screen, I'm chuckling every single time. I think it's just a dope dynamic. He's just a dynamic character. To have someone that fights as well and as fearless as he does, have the type of sense of humor that he does, and it's not like he's cracking like little corny jokes. Like, he is hilarious. He's hilarious.
And his facial expressions do it all.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, his expressions totally are so great. Yeah.
Oh, his delivery, he's got like Euron level delivery. He's awesome. He's great. It's such intensity in this space. It's amazing. But yeah, that was a great conversation between the two of them, and that was an excellent way to open the episode up. Cash, did you have anything on that before we went into Gendry?
No, I think I have more of a blanket statement on all of the little interactions in the beginning. So I'll say that's what we get.
That they're all foreshadowing for the entire episode.
Well, no, I mean just because I'm just gonna I'm gonna review today, but I'm also gonna play advocate. I've seen a lot of to me some odd reviews, and I just think people are losing the point when they're watching the show. So
I think that we should get to that probably at the end. But I absolutely agree, because I have seen some weird stuff too. So
I mean, look, granted, we have very high expectations for the show, but that's the thing. It is a show, and it's a show with a finite amount of story to tell, so it has to get to an end. So I just don't understand people getting disappointed about it coming to an end, where as a show does and as a story does, it's going to have some typical tropes. All of our great shows have it. And I know somebody even said to me, I'm very much an apologist for Game of Thrones. I don't care, because I think the scope of this thing is gigantic. Nobody's nitpicking Star Trek because it's scope. And, it's out in the space. Oh, I don't care. They warped and they found. One thing in Star Trek one time happened, Morgan, they hit the ship and it spun, and it was light years away. Oh well. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing we talk about when we review the show, especially a couple of years back, we were talking about the balancing of the mysticism and how, I believe in dragons, but not White Walkers. Or I believe in, there's so many things that are happening that are proving everybody's point. But some people put their line in the sand like, well, no, I'm not, and I think sometimes the reviewers have gotten to that. So, yeah, that's just something I'll keep in the pocket towards that. Oh, and also we have
Okay.
some guest questions that I will save at the end. Somebody texted
Oh,
me.
nice.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Oh.
So I will just say really quickly then, before we move to Gendry, that particular how many of his people had to die for his pride, I think speaks directly to this episode.
Okay.
And what gets to what happens at the end. So, moving on, Gendry.
Right. So Gendry talking to the Brotherhood. It was funny that here it is. We've already decided, you know what, we're going to put our differences aside. We're going to be on this new mission. We got to handle this business. For him to still bring it up, you know what I mean? For him to still bring it up, and it's like, but what's the resolve here, Gendry? What are you looking for? Are you looking for an apology? We kind of don't have time for all of that. And then for the Hound to come through and just be like, yo, you are bitching, homeboy. Like, chill out. He's like, I'm not bitching. You are. Your mouth is moving, and you're complaining. So, like, what exactly?
I love that.
What else would you call it?
You call it whinging?
Whinging.
So, I mean, that
which I want to
right
use
there,
in everyday language now.
For real, every day.
So, having Tormund and then the Hound with the following scene, I was like, yo, these two together, these guys are delivering right now. They are giving me everything I need. It is hilarious because we're so used to having them in separate locations being the comic relief. Now here it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
together.
Man, it was awesome. Right.
Well, you're going too far.
I was going to stop there, but yeah,
okay.
but I just feel like this doesn't need to come up anymore, Gendry. We can leave it. We can leave it go. It's all right. It's done. What's done is done. You're alive. So you know what? Hey, we're done. Let's leave it alone, please.
I'm
think
glad
that
Gendry
they wrapped it up, though.
Yeah, me too. I think he did want an apology. I think he wanted someone to at the very least give him some sort of sympathy for it. And they were like, "Go home, little boy." Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, nobody was going to give him anything, and they kind of kept punking him on that level, you know, in those little moments of being like, "Man, if you don't shut the fuck up."
Right. You're coming to the land
you're
of
still
no
alive,
apologies,
right?
looking for apologies.
Yeah. You're still alive. That red woman ain't kill you. You good.
Yeah. He's the new boy on the squad that don't know how to take getting burned on. It's like, you got to chill out.
Right.
We kick mom jokes all the time. Like, don't get mad. You just chill. You got to chill out.
But it also was like an effort to just give him some script for him to chew on, and not to get ahead, but we know he doesn't die, so you give him some of those beats. He's still upset, and also, like I said, they were all like pairing up differently, which I thought was kind of cute and clever. Some people, like I said, that they were kind of annoyed with it, but I thought it was nice, cute, and clever. Like,
if there's
the
7 of you walking,
tissue.
Yeah,
right.
if there's
and
7 of you walking and you guys all know the same people, it's like the circles, like, oh, you're in my network and you're in my network and you're in my network. Like, that wasn't weird to me. I thought that was dope. I like seeing those characters together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same reason we like seeing Brian. It's the same reason we like seeing them. And like,
exactly.
Again, I was talking to somebody today, just realizing how many people at the job watch it, because I'm not getting to these intense conversations. The road movie is over. And that, to me, is the theme of these last 2 seasons. The road movie is over. The long journeys on the road of us really digging into the minutia of each character and their depth and getting these emotional connections to Arya and Brienne and Podrick. The reason we even like Podrick is because of the road stuff. Him going with Tyrion, and then him being with Brienne, and then Bronn is a big one of those road characters. The Hound and Arya, our favorite road film. Sansa and whatever. So my point is, now people are getting places, and the connections and the reunions and the new unions are being made. And I think a lot of the fans need to get over that. There's none of this mystery, and it's not being written by George Martin. We would have a different spin to it. I admit that. But these are very creative cats. They've done a great job with this story so far, so just trusting them and buckle up for the ride. That's what I think. Like, I think people should do a little bit more of that.
I'm with you too, Castro. We are in season 7 of 8. You've come too far to be complaining. You really have. And the things that you're complaining about are things that have existed for the most part throughout the entire series. So you can't get all the way here and be like, oh, really? Well, I mean, the only thing that's drastically changed, and you mentioned this on the first call, was the pace. You know, like the transportation system has been completely revitalized. They're not using tokens anymore in Westeros. They're using the cards. Like, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Everyone's getting everywhere quicker. But it is important because there are so many things that need to happen to wrap this up. And like you said, there's no need for us to have these long, drawn-out road stories anymore because we know all the characters. We know all the intricacies. Now that we know everything about everybody, let's just make everything happen. Let's see what happens when we put these different personalities on the mission together or in the same room or at Winterfell. Right. Let's see how this all plays out. So, it makes total sense. I'm loving it. So next we got Jon and Jorah.
Okay, so this seemed like an inevitable scene. Well, not so much when we saw Jorah with the grayscale and all that stuff and, you know, his life being threatened. But when they started walking, and it's one of those things that as it starts happening, you start thinking, oh, yeah, this was bound to happen, whether you were consciously thinking about it or not. And Jon being honorable and stuff, he wants to offer up Longclaw back to him. And what I like is this is one of those things that's not exposition or lip service. They keep Jorah Mormont's name alive. He was an important character even in death. You know what I'm saying? And they still say his name and not just for plot purposes. So it seemed like a genuine moment. And I think Jorah not changed his mind, but made up his mind for Jon to keep it when Jon explained that he changed the hilt from a bear's head to a wolf's head.
To a wolf, right.
And looking at it like that. And also, just, I mean, not to get into classism, but like Jorah knows his place. He has, we'll talk about it later, he has those 2 daggers. Right. He has the daggers made of dragon glass. He's not going to carry this big, broad Valyrian shield. Didn't he say that when he looked at it? He said, I've never had them.
Yeah.
Oh, no, somebody else. Did he say, I've never had Valyrian steel before? Is that?
I don't remember.
You know what? I'm remembering an old scene about Bronn training Jaime.
Okay.
Like, I've never seen Valyrian before. So, and he also knows, like, Jorah accepts his responsibility. He's starting to, with Daenerys, he actually did with that long journey, and he does with his family. I know that I've shamed my family name, so I'm not going to taint this sword and what those swords mean in terms of lineage. You can give this to your children.
Right.
That's a little foreshadowing. So I did like that was a cool little scene with them, too. There was a lot of stuff to dig out, and I got to watch the episode again because I definitely was distracted. You know, this whole thing with my cat happened yesterday, so I definitely got to watch it again. So, but, yeah, there was a lot to dig out, and when you really get into the nice meat, I think we'll enjoy these moments because we were longing for some of these people to get in the same room together. So we'll really relish this stuff when it's all said and done.
Very true. Yeah. There wasn't a moment for me that I doubted that Jorah wasn't going to take that sword. Like, there was no question.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. There was never a point I thought he's like, oh, you're going to give it back? Sweet. I love this show. Like, I never thought that was. Yeah.
I never thought that Jorah was going to keep it, but immediately when Jon started like, oh, hey, your dad gave this to me, you should have it. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You need that. Like, this isn't the time to give away Valyrian steel. Do you remember why you're out there? Like, what are you doing? But it never dawned on me. Like, I never for once thought that Jorah would be like, oh, man, I've been waiting to get this. I think that, like Castro said, he knows his place. I didn't think of it that way. I thought of it in the way of he really is so much more honorable than he is portrayed to be. And, yes, he did some fucked up things, but he really is an honorable, loyal dude. So in that moment, he knows the honorable thing to do is to not take that. That's no longer for him. So, yeah, I was pleased with that scene for sure.
Up next, we got Sansa and Arya at Winterfell going down memory lane.
going down memory lane. So
Arya got those nice little stories before she threatens to kill you.
Man, she comes with a fantastic story of her shooting arrows and how that's different and she wasn't supposed to and she knew she wasn't supposed to, and Ned was just watching her, and that he would just kind of perch and watch them anyway. And comes in for the kill on the... I just think it's funny how you betrayed our whole family. Like, that was such a cold-ass setup to, like, remember our dad? Remember how much we loved him and how much he loved us and how everything was great? Bitch, what you do, though? Like, she just... Right. It was such a flip. Right. It was such a flip. Yeah. And Sansa was like, how did we get here?
Did that make it unrealistic for any of y'all?
No, that didn't make it unrealistic.
I take it as she's very cold now, and I feel like that's her affect. So I don't. Yes, it's not always surprising.
That's not unrealistic to me. I feel like I've done that before. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've had that kind of set up into a conversation to be like, so now tell me more about when you fucked up.
Right.
Like I've done that.
Right. Me too.
So I don't think it's unrealistic. I think it's a cold manipulation setup tactic that absolutely works. Because Sansa was completely caught off guard.
Yeah. And then on top of that, let's think about her reaction. She found the scroll. She read it. She didn't run straight to Sansa immediately, but like, bitch, I'm a fucking... Nah. She was very calm about the whole situation. Like, okay, let me lock this door back, and let me figure out exactly how I want to approach you with it. So yeah, it made of course, like
Arya
is the brand new Arya.
She is cold and calculated. She is cold and calculated, and that is who she has become. She was becoming that from the moment that she watched her dad get beheaded. You know, like there was a turning point of fuck this shit right then and there.
Right.
So this entire time, and her growth has definitely been or included becoming detached from people, and purposefully, right? Like that was definitely a point of her training with the many-faced God was fuck friends and fuck your old life and fuck your family and all of that. You are no one.
No new friends.
God dang it. No new friends. So to see it play out with her own face, with her own self, with her own sister, I think makes all the sense in the world. She is an assassin. She is a person that kills other people calculated. Like, you don't just go home and not be that anymore.
Right.
And this is such a big, tidbit for them. Like, so I'm still, wavering and questioning who's leading who around. That little, watching, I think we talked about it last week, that we'll see how it plays out, and, we all had different theories on who was leading who. Like, it didn't play out the way that I think any of us really thought it would. I still think there's a lot behind it, and I don't want to get too far ahead because we have another piece of this to go over. But, none of that was unrealistic to me, and I loved that scene. I loved how Sansa was like, okay, but wait a minute.
Nice, that's what I was going to ask.
Would... Yeah. Okay, yeah, like, you were there then. You're telling me you were there? Cool. You didn't do shit either. And Arya's like, oh, wait, I mean, I wanted to. And she's like, yeah, so did I. But we were
I was
kids.
training.
Right.
Yeah, you were training.
Yeah, where were you?
I like that she brought her to task. You brought her to task the same way that she was bringing you to task. I thought that was a good
and they both deserved it. They both deserved that checking. And that's what good sisters do for each other, right? Like, you deserve that checking, I'm going to give you that checking. Like, okay, I'll take my licks right now. You're right, but also you are not fully clean in this. And when it comes down to the end of it all, they were children, but Arya, with wait, am I going too far? Or was that the moment?
No, that's later on.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Because remember, they do talk again. And
that's it. That's in the room. Okay, I thought I was going too far about that. Reel it in.
So we're back to Notions 11.
The Hound Torment. Man, squad. Yo, listen, when their conversation started, again, I was just like, this is it. This is what I waited for. These two jerks going at each other's throats. This is going to be amazing. And I was not disappointed a single bit. There is nothing the Hound can say to Tormund to get his goat. Nothing at all. Oh, I got this big woman waiting on me back in Winterfell. He starts describing Brienne. The Hound was like, what? What do you mean the way she looks at you? Like she wants to rip you to pieces, or she wants to kill you? Oh, you know her. You do know her.
Oh, you do know her.
you can't say a bad thing about her. Someone's, oh yes, that's the one. Yes.
That's exactly the one.
My boo.
I want to not go past that too far, because when he was like, "You're with Brienne of Tarth," and he was like, "Well, no, I mean I'm not with her, but I know the way she looks at me."
Yeah,
bro, you don't. No, you look at her like that. She absolutely hates your guts.
Listen, my guy said, "I want to have babies with her."
Bro, I want to have babies with her. Can you imagine?
Looking at you like you're crazy.
Right, can you imagine?
I'm like, she hit me with a mountain. Literally, she smashed my face into a mountain.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there talking about you want to have not just babies, monster children that'll rule the world.
Monster children that will rule the world. Can you imagine the monster children we would have that will rule the world?
Oh, my God. Oh,
I mean, that's just absolutely brilliant.
Oh, my goodness.
I loved every moment of it. Is that also the conversation? Does it start with the, do you just want to suck my cock?
Yeah.
Or my dick?
Yeah.
And he's like, what? He's like,
dick.
Cock. He's like, oh.
Like,
we don't have that term. We don't have that term off of the wall.
Totally. He was like, dick. I like it.
No. He's like, no, pussy for me. Like, he starts thinking about, let's just I'm going to stick with my brown. Pussy for me. Yeah.
But to roll back, remember when he was ribbing Gendry earlier, when he said,
you got to make do.
You got to make do with what you got.
When he was just like,
living woman within 1,000 miles.
Yeah, Gendry's mind was racing, you know what I'm saying? They have yet to encounter it. I'm not getting ahead, but like, what does Tormund talk about? Him having sex with bears,
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
So.
And all of this is new. This wildling life, like, this is all new to Gendry. Like, he's been in King's Landing for God knows how long.
He said he'd never seen snow before.
Right.
Yeah.
He's never been north of the neck.
Right.
Because that's where it starts. That's where the snow starts coming. Once you start going up, go north. He's never been north of the neck. Except Dragonstone, but then he doubled back. Remember he was on the King's Road on that road trip.
Right.
They were on the King's Road.
Right.
Going to the wall.
It goes back to what I was saying before about him being the new guy in the frat house. Like, everyone's just having fun with him. And he's like, this guy wants to have sex with me. I got to run away. Like, we're just cracking jokes, B. We're just cracking jokes.
Right.
So don't worry about it.
What did Tormund say? He said, moving's best, fighting's better. Moving's good, fighting's better, fucking's the best.
Fucking's best.
Yeah.
Fucking's best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gets in fights to stay warm. Sex is obvious.
You keep walking to stay warm.
And he probably picks fights. What are you looking at? Fighting all the time. Shakes it off. Good old Tormund.
Tormund.
That's hilarious.
I know. Old
then we
Tormund. Sit down. Old Tormund.
Then we got
Tormund.
John and Barry.
I'll fuck that bear in the back. Sorry, I'm really off the deep end here. What's next?
What up,
John and Barry, you.
Okay, so another one of our cool pairings. And what I like about this is there's no frills. we both would died and been resurrected. The Lord of the Light. You're just getting right to it. John's being very secretive about admitting it. I thought he would talk with it with Bran, but I guess he's talking with it with Beric. But Beric is actually talking with it to him. But John still kind of, mums the word about it. But Beric's just free flowing with it. Like, look, man, you're a resurrectee. I am too. If Electra was here, she'd be too. Who's next? Like, whatever. Let's all talk.
We're all in the same game.
Right.
We're all in the same game, So that was kind of cool. But I definitely liked Beric's quote. We always fighting death, but you always, and death will always win, but you still have to fight it. And that's just pretty much a parallel between the Night's King and his army looks inevitable. Like, especially in light of the entire episode, it looks like it's against us, But what I like about Jon, which is another trope that people get annoyed with, but I'm a fight to the end. I'll go down with the ship. He's going to fight a horde of people. Like when it was Battle of the Bastards, he took his sword off. He was about to fight with 80 horses rushing at him. So, Beric was just there just to remind him. And that's when I thought Beric was going to die. And when Tommy was talking about pussy, I thought that's when he was going to die. I'm not giving away anything. I'm just saying, like, those precursors in shows. It's like, you start getting to know them. They have these, like, calm, quiet moments, and, later on they're disposed of. But, I just like the candor. Yes, I like the candor of the Beric and Jon conversation about them coming back from the dead and the Lord of the Light. And like Jon admits it, he's like, I've never heard the Lord of the Light. He's never spoken to me. So this connection that y'all have with it, I only have by default because of Melisandre resurrecting me and shit, which I still don't know what that was about. That's how Jon's working with it.
Right. John's not understanding the purpose at this point because he's not been a Lord of the Light follower, and I think that for him it's easily dismissible. It's like, Lord of the Light, okay, but Melisandre's the one that brought me back, and I don't really even know why she did that. It's easy to not dig into that if you're not really interested in it, or you don't. If you don't really want to, or you're not ready to understand that you actually died and you came back to life. I think that matters. I also think that whole, setup of he brought us back, just the two of us. We're the only ones.
Right, and that was later.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Oh, God, sorry.
That's later on.
No, but that's still,
God dang it.
This
I'm
conversation.
No, we could jump that way. Well, what do y'all think that was about?
No, I think that was a clear way to polish off that conversation that was started with them in the beginning of the episode. Listen, don't have any more doubts. We're in this moment, and you were resurrected for a reason. If not this reason, then what? Like, seriously, at that point, it's like, Jon, there's nothing else for you to question right now. We're facing something our world hasn't seen in forever. Me and you are here, right here, and we're following your lead. Exactly.
Together now.
Right. We didn't get resurrected to be frozen. Like, nah, dude, this is what you were brought here for. The Lord of the Light knows. Like, it goes back to a point Castro was making before we even started doing the podcast about this is the one God we've consistently seen deliver. Yep. They pray to everybody, the old gods, the new gods. Lord of the Light gives us real results consistently. I think we should look into that more in the history and lore and see what's going on. Like, I do remember watching something about the Lord of the Light and figured out where he or she sat in all of this. But,
the Lord of the Light lore and history was more so because it was narrated by Thoros of Myr, so it was through his perspective. So that's why I still would agree. So I think we also don't forget the many-faced God is actually, up and running.
Yeah.
I think the jacking switch wasn't just faces. Remember when he took the poison and died and then he was standing behind her? That wasn't just faces. And he was the ruler of that house, or sort of thing. And I guess does the drown god count with them almost drowning themselves? And like Euron was kind of dead. I'd think back on it. Like, we got to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah. So, I'm going to go back because I remember actually watching a lore that tied all of that together. So I'm going to try to find that one and check it out again. All right, so we are at Dragonstone.
So Tyrion and Dany in Dragonstone, and they're having a conversation about heroes. And Dany's like, I'm kind of sick of all these heroes, man, which is speaks directly to what Castro just said about Jon, how he's the dude that fights to the end. I'll just forget it, guys. Let me be the last one here. I'll do it all. And she was saying, that's weak. I don't want a hero. Right. I don't want a hero that's going to be the one to die. They all go to die. I thought it was hilarious that Tyrion was like, interesting, you know. All of these men, Drogo, Daario, Jorah, and Jon. Am I missing someone?
That's all the suitors.
Okay. All of them have fallen in love with you. Daenerys is like, record scratch, not Jon Snow. And he was like, right. Yeah, he's just staring at you longingly to get war advice. Like, be for real. I know that there's it kills Castro every moment that there is, every step we get closer to them being together.
But they are literally between them.
Yeah, they are literally forcing it down our throats at this point. Like, there's no way around it.
So I know one time George R.R. Martin was talking, and he was like, the Targaryen culture, they're not of Westerosi, so they came from Essos, so their culture is very foreign to them. So that's sister marrying brother, sister marrying brother, aunt, nephew, things that made Westerosi uncomfortable. He literally said sister and brother and aunt and nephew to keep their bloodline pure. So.
So there we go. There we have it.
I'm trying to.
I know.
But knowing that, how do you feel now? Does that work for you?
I don't want to. I'm Tywin all the way to the end. My son and daughter are not sleeping with each other. My twin son and daughter are not. I'm going to be Tywin to the end.
Cool. They move forward. Dany blushes. She swoons about that whole situation and acts like she doesn't. And they move on to their foreign policy talk, their relations with the other world, and how she didn't need to kill the Tarleys the way that she did. And this is where we have watched Tyrion do too much all season in the way of, maybe not all season, but many of the episodes. He has he is on this contrarian, like, wait, no, be nicer. Like, or you don't have to do it that way. Don't do it that way. You can do it this way. But he's been full of terrible ideas this season. So for me, I'm annoyed by the. Oh. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed because he was steps ahead of Varys, steps ahead of Littlefinger in earlier seasons, which, we are made to believe that those two have their, pulse on absolutely everything basically throughout the world. And now you're talking about a terrible plan to have them go capture a white and take it to Cersei as if she'll ever give two shits. This idea that Dany was way too harsh with that moment with the Tarleys and trying to not necessarily scold her about it, but like, yeah, you could have made a better or a different decision. But we didn't get to talk about that because you kind of flew off the handle. That wasn't a rash reaction. That she really didn't have a choice in that. To me, she didn't have a choice there. Like, bend the knee or die. If you draw that kind of a hard line, you don't get to be like, oh, you can die a couple days later when I think about it. Like, nah, you got to die. You bend the knee or you die. And I also think that if a man said that, there would be no questioning of that man. But that's just it would
be like different orchestra hits in the back, bend the knee or die.
It'd be different everything. And it would be taken more seriously, and it wouldn't be talked about as if it was irrational.
And there would be no attempt to try to coerce them in the moment. Well, sir, Lord, please, rethink this. No one's doing that.
They're not going to do that. So
I mean,
as annoyed as I get with Dany on the you better bend the knee shit, like, you do, in fact, have to respect, and you are her hand. So I want you to give her the real, and I want you to do all of that stuff, but there's a time and a place for absolutely everything, and Tyrion is supposed to be the smartest one. He's supposed to be the one who knows all those times and places. He's supposed to not ever question the queen in front of a flock of Lannisters. Like, what are you doing? So in that moment, while they're in the room talking, and she's like, you know, whoa, hold the phone. What you're going to do is stop acting like you have the best ideas. That's what you're going to do. You're leading me astray. Chill out. I appreciated that scene greatly. Because it went straight from, like, buddies to, oh, right, I'm the hand, and you're the queen. And I have things to say that I shouldn't be fucking saying. Like, Tyrion needs to chill right now.
Yeah, Tyrion's been getting on my last nerve between, you know, this episode and then the one right before it. It was just like, dude, again, like you said, remember that you're the hand. But also understand that you talking back to her is you're feeding into what she's already dealing with. You are positioning yourself on the other side if you keep doing this. And it's not wrong for her to think, why do we keep losing to your family off of your plans? It's not wrong for her to think that. This could be something going on with Tyrion on the subconscious level. How is it that you're able to outmaneuver everyone, but when it comes to your family, we keep losing?
Right.
You know, so she's you know, and again, not to jump forward, the conversation they ended up having later, it was just like, here we go, you know? So, yeah, I'm Tyrion is on my last nerve at this point. He really is.
Yeah, didn't you tweet? You tweeted something like that, like he needs to check himself, and she did check him, and then I think you tweeted something in response to that.
Right.
So, I mean,
right.
I think it's a little even simpler, guys. I think he's not a military strategist. He's like when Tyrion shined when he was the hand, that was him handling King's Landing. You know, while they were still grooming Joffrey or whatever may have you. So I think he thrives in that inner city workings. Him and Viserys. Varys. Oh, I'm getting confused with the dragon.
Yeah, it's
Varys
okay.
walking around the city, you know what I'm saying, plotting and planning. That's when he was thriving, him and Bronn. But I think when it comes to this big bad, like I said, this board of risk and moving your soldiers and stuff, he's just not the best. And I think he, like you say, he over-strategizes at times and ends up, looking foolish with the losses they've taken so far. So I didn't think he'd be flawless. Well, I didn't think he'd be flawless. I didn't think he would take this many L's. Because remember last season he didn't do much. So I thought this would be we're glossing over it, guys. Like, what's Tyrion's end game in this whole big master plan? Is he just to be her hand? He's got to be doing more. Like, when we turn around, he's storming the rush. Like, I think back to, remember that first battle he had when his father sent him out in the front bannerment? Like, the first lead groups of guys running in, it's usually the cannon fodder, and he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Remember he got knocked out by some shield or something like that, to then move on to the Blackwater, where he won that thing. To move on, and Amber, like, this part, he didn't get credit for it, moved downstairs. Remember, he was moved into that horrible room, out of that Tower of the Hand and stuff like that, to now be next to the, future queen. So I think, we could simplify. He's having some moments where he's a little overwhelmed, and he's still trying to do that balance. Like, I think Tyrion's the goal with Tyrion will be the repeated echoing statement that she has to be different. She can't be more of the same. She has to be a different leader. And I think
he's definitely looking for change.
Yeah.
And he's also taking direction or taking advice from Varys, saying, listen, you need to get a handle on this. You need to be able to actually help her with the decision making and, bring her to a different place. So I think, that definitely plays a part. But no, I feel you. There's definitely him dealing with a level of inexperience. I just think he's moving into dangerous territory, and he just clearly thinks he's above reproach. Not that he has the fear
I don't even know if it's
necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't think he's walking around with the fear that she's going to stick a dragon on him. It's just that, do you really want her to have to flip on you in public? Do you really want her to have to, like, bark on you in front of subjects? If the answer is no,
then don't check her in front of subjects. Just don't. Just chill out and try to take her perspective on things. Seriously. Because, again, when she first mentioned, well, maybe you trying to, weaken us against your family, I was like, oh, you're being paranoid. But now it's like, it's not so paranoid. I still don't believe he's doing it, but on a subconscious level, he could.
Was he right in saying that she has a temper? At first, I thought it was kind of that was something in the script, but she does have a temper.
She does.
So
she absolutely does.
We root for her, so we want Tyrion to kind of be wrong in what he's saying, but he is right in a lot of things. She does have a temper, and again, she has to be a different ruler, whether she realizes it every single step of the way or not. That's why he's the reminder. You have to be a different ruler.
The thing with me and Tyrion is it's not that he wasn't making good points in both of those moments where he was like, maybe not right now. It wasn't that he didn't make good points. It's that, again, time and place. And right now, your track record is getting really ugly with all of the decisions that you've made and the suggestions you've made. And you've already been questioned on loyalty a couple of times. So is it really right for you to persist on certain things like, well, maybe you shouldn't have killed the Tarleys? Like, you already made that point on the field. You're not, going back to it the way that he did was not the smart move. So that's what's frustrating. I don't think that he is secretly working for the Lannisters to win. But I do wonder how he has lost such sight of who Cersei is and what she's about. And why he thinks that she could be coerced into anything, that they want to do. She's not going to look at a white and be like, oh, shit, we better just fight this battle with you guys. Like, that's not going to happen. And of all people in their camp, Tyrion's the one that should know that. And I realize he's been gone for a while, and I realize that, when they left the terms that they left on and that she wants to kill him and all of that. But that should make you remember even more. You know what I mean? Like, you had to get smuggled in to your own home as to not be seen or hurt by Cersei so that you could talk to your own brother. Why are you forgiving at points? That's what kills me. And forgetting is probably the wrong thing. I mean, overlooking.
No, I just think he's going to be consistent with that campaign and doing different, even though he knows his sister wants to behead him. He says it all the time. He wants to kill him on sight, even now that she has the different information. But he wants to consistently hammer home, you got to be a different ruler. I think that Dany does have to be a different ruler, and she can't turn into the Mad Queen and all of those things. But I think that there is a separation between the two. Remember who Cersei is and remember how she moves. Tyrion used to know her moves like the back of his hand. And now it's like, I'm not quite sure. Like, he didn't see any of the shit coming. We should do this. I mean, and don't get me wrong, that very first plan where they're going to take Casterly Rock and all, that sounded so amazing. But he didn't see their strategy coming. He either thought he was way smarter and didn't take into account that this is what the fuck they do, which is a huge fail if that's what happened, or he forgot that that's what they do. You know what I mean? Like, you're either not taking into account or you're just not remembering it all, that you weren't the one that was doing any of this strategy shit, and they were.
So if what they're doing, what the writers are doing with Tyrion right now is setting up a situation where he and Dany are going to actually have words where it can turn into a tense moment, then what they're doing it the right way. I think the way they're leading us is the right way. I think what Tyrion's problem is, he's drinking his own Kool-Aid. Tyrion's weapons are his intelligence, his wit, his charm. And what he's starting to find, what he's not actually realizing, let me say that, is that doesn't work all the time. It really doesn't. There's a time and place for what you're good at. And what you're good at is not working right now. It flat out isn't. So you think, oh, I just need to get in front of Cersei, and once I say a couple things like you did with Jaime, because you know your brother, even though he did want to kill you at first, you were able to talk him down. You think you can be with Dany in front of people and talk her down. You think you're going to bring a White Walker and Cersei and talk her down. No, Tyrion. No.
Never going to happen.
That's not where we are now. And he's not watching how the landscape is changing around him. He really isn't. Flat out. He isn't. Like, that's what's going on. He's a fish out of water right now. He thinks he's gonna be able to talk out of all these situations and coerce people, and they just need reason. No.
But
Dany's pushed past the point of reason with some of her responses. Go ahead.
But Tyrion's arc has also shown that he's figured out that swift tongue of his doesn't always work, but it does sometimes. Remember, it stopped them from killing him.
It's worked. It's worked all the way up until now, is what I'm saying. It's always worked. It's been his go-to. It's always worked. What I'm saying is now it's not working, and he doesn't realize it's not working, and he's still trying it. And by doing so, he's creating situations that are potentially dangerous for everyone.
The plan to capture a White alone is like just has fatalities written all over it, and I can't understand how anyone, like, I get why the Warriors bought into it, because that's what soldiers and warriors do. They're like, oh, yeah, okay. So we just go out there in the cold and grab a White, and then we bring it back. Yeah, I get that. He is supposed to be a strategist. Like, how is that ever going to be? But he is supposed to be.
Right. Right.
Like, he is supposed to be.
Right.
So how that plan was ever, like, I just can't understand how he let those words come out of his mouth. And, I mean, I don't know what kind of punishment he faces in all of that, you know. Well, I can't go too far. Yeah. I don't know what kind of punishment he faces. I'll leave it there.
It made sense to him, and because only thing that needed to happen was for two people to return with the White. It's Tyrion's show. I'll take it from here. I'll walk it into King's Landing. I'll talk to Cersei.
I don't even agree with that. I don't think that that's what he even thinks. I totally don't. I don't think that that's what he thinks. I don't think Tyrion thinks he can walk into King's Landing with a White and be like, "Now hear me out." I don't think he thinks that. And that's why I'm so frustrated, and it's all a conundrum for me, because I know that he's smarter than that, so I'm refusing to believe that he thinks once one or two people bring a White back that it's going to be him walking into King's Landing like, ha-ha, we have a bigger fight to fight.
We see him walking in the trailer.
That they have like the tribunal meeting. I think
yes, but he's not the only one there.
Well, no, but he grew up different. So he's going to support Dany because she's different. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't appreciate the system. The system has always spat on him and made him shameful. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just where a lot of this is coming from. So all right, so it's a wacky plan to take this thing up to Cersei, but it's better than storming the gates. He's already been a part of that. You know what I'm saying? He could be shell shocked with that because that's going to bring me to when things happen to some of these characters, it keeps echoing and reverberating. So
yes, everybody gets triggered. Definitely,
their decisions moving forward, no matter what different shape it takes. So you see this little thing out in the distance, and of course, one thing you can see through all of that snow and that snowfall is, I think Genji is the one that says it, is a polar bear's eyes blue. So then it comes charging at them. At first, I thought it was a couple of them, because at first I thought it was agents of the Night King, but I think it was just it was simpler than that. It's just a polar bear that died north of the wall. Because when you die out there,
so that wasn't a scout mission, is what you're saying?
No, I think that was just something that died out there. Doesn't mean they don't have polar bears on their side, but it was just something that died north of the wall. And if you don't burn it, it becomes another agent and the army of the dead, and it resurrects themselves with a bloodlust, and it starts attacking you and shit.
Wait a minute.
I just got confused.
You're saying anything that dies north of the wall automatically resurrects and becomes a part of them?
Right. That's why they burn everything. That's why the free folk burn everybody that died. It seems like it's a tradition across the whole realm. You know, they burn people on pyres. They burn the Maester at Night's Watch. They burn Drogon. But you burn things north of the wall, otherwise they resurrect. Hence in point, remember the ones that they brought back and almost killed Mormont? Because they didn't burn that one in time, and he resurrected himself, and Jon had to kill him inside Castle Black. Y'all remember that?
I thought that they had to be resurrected, not just anything that dies out there. I thought anything that dies out there has the possibility to be resurrected.
Become.
Not
right.
Automatically.
Those are different ones.
Automatically
no,
become a walker.
Yes.
I mean, a white.
Yes. You become a white if you don't get burned. That's why they always say you got to burn the body.
I just assumed that, yes, they always said you got to burn the body, even for the people that don't necessarily believe that they will resurrect like a white, but that something could happen. So they're like, no, burn the body.
Right, because that's the
but I thought
tradition
that they
across
had to
the
be
realm.
Right, but I thought that they had to be reanimated by a white walker in order to be a white.
No,
and if what you're saying is different, then that totally shoots out the theory that once you kill, you know what I mean?
Well, all right.
No, but listen, remember the one.
I'm going with your theory, Castro. I'm going with your theory.
Yeah, the ones. Remember the ones at Lord Mormont? They fought with him?
I remember.
They weren't. The Night King wasn't around for that. They just brought them back. Remember, they were part of the scouting party, and they didn't burn them.
But didn't I thought they got? I thought that one
whites,
got turned, and oh man, now I'm super confused.
But here's the thing. Say, going with your theory that it doesn't matter, if they're reanimated by a White Walker at that moment, they will come back as a white. Regardless, if you die north of the wall and you weren't burned, you will be resurrected as a white. Period. You'll come back as a white.
Right.
If you're a white, you're still under their ranks. It's not like you're an independent white.
No, most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So
if you're that white that's away from the herd, you're more driven just by bloodlust. You just wake up wanting to kill, as opposed to being part of their army. If the army comes upon you, you probably just fall in the rank. And yes, that's indeed. But when we get to it a little bit later, because there's more evidence of a white being part of a group that's not controlled by the White Walker with them. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So the other part that was cool about the bear scene was watching, because we forget Thoros can light up his sword too. So neither one of their swords is light brand. If you remember, Jorah even talked to Thoros about, when I saw you rush into the breach, and he just happened to say, I just happened to be the drunkest there. He said he had a flaming sword at that point. So when you watch Thoros and Beric light up their swords at the same time, that was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and then struck him with the fire again. I don't know if they're telegraphing for the Hound to fight fire at one point, but he's always been shook by fire. He just gets stuck. Super stuck.
When he froze up, I was just like, bro.
And he also jumped out the way.
I was the other way. I went the other way. Like, oh God, he's so triggered right now. There's no way he could fight. Like all he's thinking about is being thrown in the fire.
Yep. Yeah, most definitely. You can see it. He plays that role. He gives that expression so great. He's a really good actor.
He really does.
He really is just totally stressed and frozen by fire. Because see, that's when the fear goes a little further. He's not running away screaming like, running off into the snow. He just
paralyzed.
Gets totally frozen there. And when you're around fire and you're frozen, you're burn up. You know what I'm saying? If you don't move quick enough and get out of that situation. So, but I like the. Yeah, go ahead.
What was irking for me was like when that happened, I was like, dude, you should have just stayed at the wall because we fight these things with fire, and you're scared of fire.
Right.
So you should just
that's fair.
It was like, come on. I was
stayed home.
just stay home,
that's
bro.
Fair.
No,
Yeah,
it's,
that
I was just
who's there? Your man, Ed is there, and also the Onion Knight, right? Where's he at? He's
Davos
the
is back at Eastwatch. Yeah, he's at Eastwatch.
Yeah. Okay. He said I'll stay here. Yeah.
So
okay.
I just have one question about that ice bear, polar bear, and that is when it comes charging at them and then eats the like wildling dude, right? The very beginning of Ice Bear. Where the fuck did it go? Like all of a sudden the bear and the person were gone. So okay, cool. If the bear swallowed a person whole,
when he
where
grabbed the first person and
it
ran
go?
out. Yeah.
Yes, he was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, they ran up to it. They ran up to that scene, so to speak. What seemed immediately like where could it have gone?
Yeah.
But
and
that's
then like, oops, behind you, bitch.
That's a common
like,
horror. That's a common horror thriller when you can't see.
It is, but this isn't a horror.
Grabs something and snatches him and runs off. But it is. It's the show is playing on all of those different genres all at once. So I mean,
I was just like, where the fuck did that thing go?
Because I think you saw the Prey. Y'all saw the Prey, right? And you saw the Prey, Liam Neeson and the Wolves. Mm-hmm. But anyway, there's always like, even in cartoons, there's always that big group that sends a group back to back, and then somebody runs across and grabs one person, and now they're one person down, or somebody grabs them from above or underneath, and then they're like two people down. So yeah, I get you. Okay. That is true, because John even ran after him all the time with that spear and shit. Like homeboy was gone.
Right. It was like, now what? Like everybody looked around like, now we all saw that, right?
Right. So when
we were all here.
So when he sunk his teeth in the Thoros, immediately I got a flashback of the Revenant. I was like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, it's just like the Revenant.
The bear attack. I was like,
still haven't seen it.
Oh man.
Still haven't seen it.
But not when the trailer that the bear fights him, but yeah.
All right. I'm just saying I can't engage.
Yeah, gotcha. But yeah, that was awesome. That was great. And you know what? So when that happened, I was like, well, this isn't an ice spider, which we're expecting because they've talked about the ice spider. But this bear, I think I said that in the last week. This bear will do. The bear will do.
The bear will do. The bear will do. Plus the symbolism of just. Sorry, Castro, go ahead.
No, I just liked that it was a bear rather than a spider.
Yeah, I mean,
I prefer the bear.
You guys don't want the big ice spiders that they're riding? You don't want those?
No, because it would be like from Lord of the Rings. No, I'm good.
Yeah, like King Kong spider. I don't want to see that spider that's an ice spider.
They said the spider was the size of a hound, so it would be like a spider that's the size of a dog. It'd be a big spider, but it would,
Oh, I see.
Like,
but there were some illustrations in the history and lore of them actually riding the spiders too, so they were going to be used.
Oh, they get that big. Okay. Yeah.
But so to take the history and lore away from it, we, or not all of it, but a bear gives us a couple of things. One, that's an enormous fucking animal that can be reanimated, which just speaks directly to the other thing that happened. Two, all the wildlings, not all, but wildlings talked about fucking bears. Tormund talking about Sheila. Like, all of it to me, that particular bear meant a lot. In tying things together. Yeah, for that reason, yes. And if they would have brought an ice spider out of nowhere at this point, there'd be no tie-in. You know what I mean? So it would have been like, oh, now you got fucking ice spiders for fucking real. We would have all been like, where did that come from? For people, for people that don't know that part.
Right.
That's also why I'm saying that's probably a bear that just died north of the wall, as opposed to being somebody recruited or something recruited into the army. In the book, the army is filled with all types of creatures. And in the show, I think they've been doubling back and forth, just grabbing every dead person they can find or any dead person they kill. Because remember, Am's strongest point is when you fight them, it's not just fighting them. So they kill 10 of y'all. Those 10 are now there.
Right.
Kill another 5 of y'all. Those 5 now working for them. Like literally, that's just exactly what happens. So your numbers
immediately
change and shrink drastically, and not just strewn with dead. Like, what if he went by the Battle of the Bastards? You saw them big piles of dead men? And you know what I'm saying? So But the polar bear in particular, I think, died north of the wall and was just, on his polar bear ship. Because it's not like it grabbed one and took it back to where they were. That would definitely be some orders. It wouldn't just be the mall, and they would grab them and bring them to the Night King. So.
And also, it didn't. It's not like it communicated their location to anyone. It just,
like
as far as the Night King being aware of,
They still walked and ran up into them, so that's what I think. But, again, a great scene. Big moment when Thoros had the fire sword in the mouth of the bear, holding it all.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right.
Okay, so we move forward to Sansa goes to her bestie Littlefinger to talk about the conversation that she just had with Arya. And how does she know all of these things? I don't understand where she got that letter from. And Littlefinger's just like, go on. And Littlefinger plants the seed that, Arya's kind of dangerous, and maybe if things didn't work out between you two and she tried to come at you, maybe we insert Brienne there because she's sworn to protect you both, right? And if one is trying to kill the other, then she's got to protect the one about to die. Littlefinger's such a piece of shit. And I hate that Sansa speaks to him. I understand that, in many of their dealings, she has noticed that he's a piece of shit. She says she understands that he's not to be trusted. But somehow he ends up being her counsel more often than anyone else. So it's hard to understand what exactly is happening there. But that seed that he planted about Brienne, I was just like, this motherfucker. What are you doing? And I get it. Like, you want to separate Sansa from Arya so that you have more control, or at least more of Sansa's ear, at the very least.
Right.
Because he knows that he has no action with Arya. And Arya doesn't want to be in power. That's not her deal. He needs to be aligned with the people that want to be in power, or that are in power, because that's what he wants. So I get why Arya is of no consequence to him. She's just in the way. I totally understand that. But I do think it's hard to watch those interactions and not see immediate reactions from Sansa, like, oh, you crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She's just, it's not even like she's one step behind. She's always several steps behind with Littlefinger. And then she comes around like, oh, I always know what he's up to. And, I know what his intentions are. Sansa, you don't know anything. And you're starting to look like old Sansa, which is becoming seriously annoying. I think Littlefinger actually wants Sansa to use Brienne to eliminate Arya, period. I think he wants Arya to get taken up out of here because, like, we're seeing all of Ned. We're seeing all of Ned and Arya.
Yeah.
Littlefinger is seeing that too. He knows, without a doubt, if there's anyone in Winterfell that is a direct threat physically to him, it is Arya.
Absolutely.
So I think his end game for Arya is, hey man, if we can get her eliminated, period. If we can get Brienne to do whatever she needs to do to get her up out of here, let's do that. Because she's in the way. Like you said, she has no action. Say again?
No, I want to hold that because that's what I'm saying. Is that why Sansa does what she does a little later?
Right.
So,
I gotta be honest, and I didn't think about it in that regard. I totally thought about he was just trying to separate the two of them. That's the way that I saw it. But I think that you're right. I think he does see Ned in Arya. Who doesn't at this point? Like, she's the spitting image of him at this point, down to the hair. It's all of it.
Yep.
So I great call out, because I totally didn't take it that way. I was just like, oh, he's just trying to get rid of her, in a way of as being close sisters and trying to just put a wedge and divide the two of them. I didn't think he was truly trying to have her killed, and I think that you're likely right.
I can't stand him yet. He's the worst. Every episode he survives, it's just like, what are we doing here? God damn it. But yeah, he's trying to get her up out the way. Who do we have next? Oh, yes. Back to Snowshine's 11. Ambushing a White Walker and some whites. That was awesome. You know me and the White Walkers. Just give them to me anytime. Anytime in the season, anytime in the show. Give them to me as much as possible in the promos, in the previous scene, and in the next on. Just give me a little blue eye here and there. I'm good for it. Doesn't matter how it's written. Just give them to me.
What was this little scouting group? What the heck was going on?
I think that's exactly what it was. It was just a scouting group. It was very interesting, that piece of information we got with John killing that one walker and watching all those whites go down. That was some great, awesome intelligence to take back. To Winterfell and discuss with everyone. Listen, go after the walkers. Let's target the walkers. The whites will collapse. And then for that one white to survive, and they immediately drew that conclusion, somebody else must have turned this one. It's cool how they're even that, and that follows the whole vampire mythology. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's really cool how they weave that in, so it makes sense. Because outside of that, could you imagine having to dispatch with every single white? There's just too many of them. And they and like you said, when your men die, they come back as white. So there's an endless supply. Of these guys. What are you gonna do? So no, that was awesome. That was super dope. And it's always great to see him shatter.
Oh yeah, he's taking them out left and right now.
Yeah. It's always great to see them shatter when they come in contact with Valyrian steel. Like the weapons clash, but as soon as it touched his body, that was it. I couldn't have asked for anything better than that.
So just to be practical about it, they got to be like 2 miles from Eastwatch at the most.
Yeah,
if you're running dead sprint. It can't be anything further than that. And let's just say this whole ordeal took them like a day and a half. Because otherwise, it's just magic, and not the good kind where he makes it back. The Raven makes it to her, she flies down. It's
when Gendry arrived, it was still nightfall, right?
Right. So that was
it like daybreak?
Yeah, that was good.
Like first light.
No, remember they kind of stayed on the rock overnight just because we saw
I think Gendry got there at night.
Okay.
I think Gendry got there at night or middle of the night, and they were there definitely overnight. That was a full night on that little ice island for them.
And how fast was that goddamn Raven? Like, what was going on?
Come on. These are the things that we can't get, like we were talking about a second ago.
Yeah.
We can't get too caught up in certain things. Like, I remember us, again, far before having this be a podcast, we would talk about the timelines and how things moved either so slow or so fast. And this in particular, time doesn't matter. Our timeline, don't even try. Because I cannot figure out, one, Gendry runs back to the wall. Are they that close?
That's what I'm saying.
So you mean to tell me the White Walkers are that close?
That was my first conclusion. I was like, oh, so they're around the corner. Because my man's just
they're up the block. They're literally up the block.
Man. They're up the block.
They're already here. It doesn't make any sense.
But the reason that they keep doubling around is and this is becoming more and more evident, and we'll talk about it at the end of the end of the episode, is it don't matter, they can't get around the wall yet.
Nope,
so he's just doing his recruitment.
Incorrect.
No, I mean,
incorrect.
Like, we'll get
no,
to it.
Hear me
I'm going to talk about it.
Incorrect. And the reason, like Morgan said something last season. One of her theories was because of the interaction between Bran and the Night King, and Bran coming back across the wall with that magic, she thought the spell was broken. They just brought a white through the wall, Castro, and they're taking it to King's Landing. They can go through the wall now.
No, they flew a white.
What are you talking about? It crossed the wall.
Dragon.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It crossed the wall. It's on the other side of the wall, and it's still alive. It didn't shatter. Yeah. It's alive. So they can cross that barrier. That barrier can be crossed. Yeah. It's crazy. It didn't click.
I don't know. Something's happening.
Until then.
Well, no, because the way they're going to get to the wall is even more spectacular now. They're not going to walk on the water. They're not going to walk under the water. It's already a done deal. But let's just get to that point. So, yeah, he's like running. Oh, and Thoros dies. Good note there.
R.I.P. Thoros.
From exposure, not from the bear bite.
Right.
Or the trekking. It's just pretty much from exposure. I mean, well, you're bleeding out.
All of it. It's all of it.
You got cauterized with the sword. There's a lot going on. But also, this definitely means last life for Barrack. Jon Snow, I don't think it. Yeah. So, and I think the Hound said it. Okay.
Yeah, but you lost your priest on your last life.
You're on your last life, B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so back at Winterfell, Sansa gets an invitation to King's Landing from Queen Cersei herself. Cersei sent for me. And she sends Brienne. On her own, decides, I'm not going to go. Brienne's going to go.
But I think this is the tribunal thing, and Sansa's going to stay at Winterfell while Brienne goes and represents her. I don't think this is some other meeting. Okay.
You say you don't think this is what?
I don't think this is some other alternative meeting. I think this is the big meeting, and Brienne's just going to represent Sansa while she stays at Winterfell.
Oh, I agree with you, but my whole point was Cersei sent an invitation for Sansa, not for a proxy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Sansa sends a proxy, which is, to me, a fuck you to Cersei, and then who the proxy is a fuck you to Littlefinger.
Right.
Because he's like, keep Brienne around so that she can kill Arya, and that totally blows his shit up. Okay, so Brienne's not even here anymore. Mm-hmm. She's busy. Mm-hmm. And also, Cersei, fuck you. You may be the queen, but I'm over here, and I don't care.
Right.
I'll send someone to represent me instead of me coming to you.
And it makes all the sense, primarily because Sansa is the one constantly telling everyone else, you don't know Cersei as well as I do. She's not the
Yes.
So there's absolutely no way it would have made sense for her to be like, oh, you want me to come? I
got to go.
I'll come through. I know you're good now.
Someone help me pack. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it made total sense to send a proxy. To me, it was just the double fuck you that in particular was that I really appreciated. Which again gives me that whole big huge question mark on who is leading who between those three people. Like, Sansa continuously looks naive yet cunning at the same time. It's kind of mind-boggling. Like, how can you be so smart and then seem so naive? And so I'm hoping that she seems naive and no longer is, and that's just part of her own manipulation of people, is to look like she doesn't know what's going on. But to me, that was a dope double fuck you.
Yeah.
Before I move on?
Yeah, I agree. That definitely took away Littlefinger's ammo. That definitely did.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see his response to it.
I don't like the way she was talking to Brienne. Like, I don't like
Mm-hmm.
it. Brienne was making some very good points.
Yes.
But and for her to constantly like, I'm the Lady of Winterfell, I'm the Lady of Winterfell, I'm the Lady of Winterfell. But now you're dispatching with protocol. You're just like, well, I don't want to do that. You're gonna go. And hey, man, listen, it's cold outside. You should probably get going so you make it on time. It's gonna be a long road. Just go.
This isn't summer travel.
Right, but is she being more forceful to get Brienne out of that equation where possibly her and Arya could fight?
I think that is absolutely possible. I think that's what's that, Am?
I was like, no, I just think she's just scared of Cersei.
Oh.
I mean, you guys are right. I think, you know, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that sees.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think she sees, you know, really what Littlefinger is trying to do. Because, if anything, if you're really, like, playing into what Littlefinger's saying, the way he wanted you to, then why would you let the only person there to protect you go? It's almost like she's catching it, but she's missing it at the same time. He wants you to hold on to Brienne to protect you against Arya, but you're like, I don't need protection against Arya. But I don't know.
But
he's setting it up. He's setting it up for some confrontation with Arya, so she's sending away the possible. You know, I think this is our moment we're talking about more, where they're being a little half step ahead of him.
Right.
You know,
I do too. I think this is even if she weren't a step ahead of him or half a step ahead of him, she realizes what part of his game is, and is like, well, I'm going to eliminate that one chess piece. He's got to figure out what to do after that. That's how I see the Brienne move. I think that's definitely get her out of the line of fire of having to kill one of those two girls. You know what I mean? Like she's there to protect them both. I don't even know how she would. I don't think Brienne would kill one of them. I think that she would try and
wouldn't.
Put one in a cell or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on really quickly. Dany gets a raven.
right.
Hey now.
So everybody has Amazon Prime with the actual drone pad. Everybody has that. Gendry's made it back to the wall. He's talked to a maester. They've written the Raven. The Raven has flown from Eastwatch to Dragonstone, and we catch it with Tyrion basically begging Dany not to go and saying, "You're the queen. You can't do this. If something happens to you, then we're all done." And there was such a look of sort of despair in Tyrion's face when he was kind of pleading with her, like, we really won't have, and we'll be lost. We won't have anything if you die. What I thought was super dope is that there was never a moment for Dany that was like, well, Jon didn't bend the knee, so I'm not going to be able to go. And for as annoyed as, you know what I mean? And for as annoyed as I have been this whole season with her, bend the knee, bend the knee, bend the knee, in that moment, it didn't matter. And that's what I've just been trying to get her to, is like, there's bigger fish to fry. We can worry about that part on the back end. This, in particular, showed who she is, how much she cares for Jon, and hopefully Jorah. Like, poor Jorah.
Right, he's there too.
Right.
Wait,
I feel
Wait, y'all. Can we talk about that damn coat? That fucking coat that she wore. Don't let that slide.
Listen, her and Sansa battling.
Her winter whites.
Yeah, her and Sansa are battling at this point. And listen, Arya's little poncho
no, she's fly too.
Too shabby either.
No, she's fly too. She just looks like Ned. That's the only difference. Is that she's wearing leather armor, and she looks dope. But these ladies, I'm telling you, that winter white coat, Dany was like, "Oh, I'm out of here. I'm on the first thing smoking, out of here. I'm going to get my man and my other man." And
so,
But I love that there was no hesitation for her. There was none. It was like, I got a raven. They're all in trouble. Got to go save them now. There was no hesitation at all. And Tyrion's like, please, no, please, please, please. Like, if he could grab the leg of a dragon and think he could hold it down, I think he would have done it. You know, like, please, no. Like,
but he said, I'm not going to sit and do nothing again. And she was directly
there it is.
Losing Dorne and losing the Reach and losing the Iron. That's
what because he said she said, what would you have me do? And he said, nothing. Sometimes doing nothing is the best choice. And she said, you've already had me do nothing. I will not do nothing again.
Right. So let me tell you, in that moment, and this is very strong. I'm going to say it. I hated it.
God.
I hated him.
Oh, that's
for
really
that
strong.
reason. Oh yeah, for that reason. What would you have me do? Nothing. So let me get this straight. This was your idea.
Right.
This is another one of your plans where they're
that
all about to die, and you're telling me not to do anything and let all of them die? Tyrion, kick rocks, B. Kick them. Kick rocks all the way back to King's Landing. All the way back. Because then, again, he's starting to sound like and play out like one of these villains. Not saying he's a villain, but one of these villains that constantly undo themselves. What's all these cockamamie schemes that you're just going to totally abandon all 7 of them? Like, he doesn't know that Thoros is dead, but he got a raven saying these guys are completely surrounded by thousands of whites. It's about to go down. And his response is, do nothing. I need you to come better than that, fam. I need you to come better than that. You know Jon is there. You know who's there. Jorah means nothing to you. Like, none of these people just, listen, let them die. We'll come up with another plan because obviously we couldn't get a white. I'll talk to Cersei and Jaime again. We'll work something else out.
We'll go from there.
I'm like, yeah, come on. Like, how do you even look these guys in the face now when they come back? When your advice was leave them.
Yeah.
Oh, at that point, I was done with Tyrion. I was like, oh, no, I'm cool, fam. Because the only reason they're there is because of your scheme, your plan.
Right.
Because you said this.
I feel like he forgot that. I think he forgot that was his awful, god-awful, terribly hatched plan. Because I can't understand how you can have at least 7 people that went to do this for you, and then there's more. There's the red shirts that went, right? But
that's so funny. That's so funny because I was no, it's the red shirt because I was trying not to do a Star Trek reference, because Castro does it a couple of times, but I was like, wasn't it a relief to see that it was more than just those 7? But we got extra guys that can be killed off. We know here. That's awesome. We got some red shirts.
Right. No, I said there was ones in the deep when they first went out at the end of the episode last week. There was like 2 or 3 in the back. Yeah, and we need that because that's the red shirt. Remember, I predicted 4 of them would die, and that was almost true. And there was 2 or 3 red shirts out of the 4. So there's nothing wrong with that. They had to get,
That is
but I
so
think
funny.
because we're at the end games that they need some of these characters at the end, so they can't do the normal, quote unquote, normal Game of Thrones thing and kill somebody unexpectedly. Like they couldn't just kill Jon. They couldn't just kill. Tormund was, it was possible with him, but like they kept everybody around for a reason. Is all I'm saying.
Which I think is funny that people had such issue with the fact that that more people didn't die.
Right.
Like, I get it that it's the end and now you can be ready to let certain people go, but the story itself needs a lot of these people still. So just to kill them off just for the sake of Game of Thrones being who they are. Like I saw one thing and I didn't read the whole article, so I'm going to sound like an idiot here. But the woman basically was who wrote it was like, "Did Game of Thrones lose their edge? Is HBO losing their shit? Like, you were supposed to kill that whole group of 7." What?
Yeah, good
what
idea.
Purpose would that
and
serve?
then what?
But then,
right. If the story called for it, so be it. Right. If
right.
the story called for it, so be it. But if
if the story called for it, but we have an episode left and an entire 6-episode season. You can't expect everyone to die today. So that idea that this wasn't spectacular enough on death is wild to me. Like that's an ass backward thing.
He's created a bloodthirsty fan base. That's what's happening.
Yeah,
you're right.
He created it. When we lost Ned, we were dying in the streets when we lost Ned. Right,
if George Martin was writing, if they were writing, there would be a couple more of those, type of deaths. I think that's his. His little thing. But I think for the
again, but we're all the way off.
We passed these books off to Weiss and Benioff to finish the story. And that requires a little bit different nuance than just killing people, like Morgan saying, for killing's sake or for shock value. Like, it's a little bit more for Tormund to do.
You can't lose main characters that have like you can't. They have purpose still. So to lose them while they still need to get stuff done, just for the sake of seeing a main person die, is wild. That any actual fan wants that. To me, like, don't you want to see this come to fruition? Why would you rather see somebody die like that? That was just so weird to me.
But no, that pulls off the fake ass face.
We're addicted to loss.
Right.
We're addicted to loss and bereavement.
This goes to show. This goes to show the disparity between book fans and show fans, and it seems like book fans are suffering with A, because they're out of books, and B, they don't have that. What do I talk about? That hold it over. Oh, well, this is not what the book said, and the book's this and the book's that. They've been dead quiet for 2 seasons now. They don't have anything to say.
They got nothing to talk about.
I think when you pull the rug out for them with that, they still try to disparage the show in other ways. If
gotcha.
You get what I'm saying.
I do.
Yeah,
okay.
That was hilarious. All right, so we are out here.
Before you start, so they run to the before you start. They built that whole frozen lake, y'all.
Oh, for that battle, they built that.
Yes. Wow. When they run to the pass, they built that whole thing. When they run into that path, and then it opens up, they built that whole thing. They built it for people to fall into fake water, real water, and the lake is not a lake. They built
safety underneath, right?
Yeah, they built that whole thing. Yeah, so there's a behind the scenes that you should. They talk about the frozen lake sequence. It's really good. They are doing things incredibly good. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it opens up. You got the Hound. He's bored, so he starts throwing rocks. When he threw the first one, immediately, knot in my stomach, I was like, "You idiot! Do not do that." Because my first thing I was thinking was, they're going to see that this is frozen back.
It's not frozen. Yeah.
Right. So when it hit the white and it knocked his jaw off and we got a couple chuckles out of it, I was like, oh, all right. Whew. Okay. So they still think it's frozen. Then he picks up another stone. I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Emotional roller coaster for me. The moron throws it. It skips. So now it's not just showing it's frozen. It's showing it's solid in all of these places. It basically gave you a path to walk. Because everywhere
but they didn't send everybody at once. They,
right.
They didn't send everybody at once.
Which was awesome. These guys are coming out one at a time, assessing it. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Let's test it. Oh, go time. So I'm like, you threw the first one and you called that white a cunt. No, the game, you're the cunt. You're the cunt. You did this. Here we are, shoulder deep in whites because of you. There's a dragon on the way. You could have just chilled. It would have been, much better situation. Now we're dealing with this because of you. John assessing the situation. So they get, They get bogged down, and the other side of that rock is kind of a cliff. There's it looks like it's a good 12 or 15 feet, and they're basically having to pile on top of each other just to get up there. And again, this goes back to what Danny said and what you were touching on earlier, MJ. Well, where's the plan, guys? You're just going to be heroic and just die. Everyone wants these songs about them.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be, sung about in alehouse. Can we survive, though? Can we work on that? Can we get a good strategy going? That would be awesome.
So neat. Would be so neat.
Yeah. I was very scared for Tormund. I was very scared. I was like, we cannot lose.
Yeah,
Tormund.
that was close. That was close. Because when you get dragged by your feet, again, that's another horror trope. Aliens.
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead, where they pull you down, you get swallowed by the horde. And when they started pulling him, and did the Hound freeze a little bit, or did he just come help him at the end? Well, he was still fighting. Okay, he was
fighting, and then he came at the end. Yeah.
Okay. Also, was Jorah using dragon glass daggers? That's what I thought they were.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
Yes, he was.
I just want to make sure they didn't slip that in because there'd be no point in all that mining sound. They didn't have a glass or two. But I was
the Hound abandoned
about Tom.
What I loved about that fight scene too was the Hound abandoning the hammer, and again, like you said earlier, Jorah didn't take the sword. Everyone is comfortable with their particular fighting styles and their weapons. Period.
Yeah.
That hammer to the Hound is not the same thing as that hammer in Genji's hands. It's just
right.
But they didn't leave the hammer though. They kept the hammer, right?
No, they didn't leave it. He abandoned using it in that moment. He was like, "Oh, this is." Yeah, he was like, "This is too heavy. This is too much. I got to get out of here." Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love that.
And then he started killing it again because like you said, he's not used to that hammer. That hammer is heavy as all get out. Not that the Hound can't handle that, but that his swings and everything is affected. So he's used to using exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So he's used to using something else. He was like, "Oh, fuck this thing. Let me get my shit and get like." He had to have that moment. He needed to let it go, or more people died.
So here we have it again. Battle of the Bastards. All hope is lost. And then, bam, Castro, take it away. And I know, it's so funny that you're going to have to grab this scene and talk about it, because this goes to what you hate in Lord of the Rings. The Eagles just come in and save the day.
But I'm resigned to it because I love the show, and I knew we had to get to some of these moments because this is like life or death. When you're going against the Night King in this army, it is like 98% of y'all gonna die. Like that's just reality. Yeah. So I watched it behind the scenes, and I wanted to talk about that really quick first. They said they were trying to come up with a scenario that made sense where 1,000 whites try to get at them. Where could they be safe for this little ragtag team?
10,000.
Oh God! So they came up with if they were in the middle of a lake, the lake might not be able to take the weight. They came up with the scenario based on framing it where a group of 8 can get trapped but still kind of wait out the whites. What would create that? So they came up with this lake scenario. So they're fighting them off. They're piling on top of each other, just cutting them down. John says, "Fall back." Where are you falling back to? Aren't you in the middle of the lake?
So where do you?
Higher up on the rock. Because all he did was go higher up on the rock. Like
that's it.
What that was. Dragging. What was killing me though was the little the white kept snarling and snapping. Every couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Like give me a fucking break.
And they tried to let him a couple of times. A couple of whites tried to let him free.
Yeah, they did. I did notice that, and then they jumped on them and stuff. So they knew the jig was up, or whatever. But they do work organization. We said that they're organisms, so they would try to free one of their fellow soldiers. So it looks dire. John drops his sword. Y'all notice, and gives that all hope is lost. He's done it at Battle of Bastards. He's done it at
full despair.
Just, I guess
full despair.
And then what you do before Drogon comes in is always you hear the cackle first. And here they come, all 3 of them, crisscrossing parried attacks of fire on top of fire on top of fire, burning everything. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that in 1 second because first the javelin happens, then everyone hops on Drogon. So, all right, it's not that the Night King threw this spear javelin. It's that the other one, the lieutenant, passed it to him. And he just walks up, grabs it, and keeps walking. Doesn't look at the lieutenant. This is what, we have a contingency for this. Oh, they have dragons. We have this. He takes aim with the Usain Bolt pole.
God,
and launches this thing that goes through Viserion, mind you. It didn't pierce him, didn't get stuck in the shoulder. It went through him. And Viserion goes down hard. The other dragons are wailing in agony, and it's time to get the hell out of Dodge now. Because you understand and you're cooking with gas. Like, one thing I didn't know that, so you saw the Night King walk through a fire again, and the fire spread. So direct dragon fire, we don't know if that motherfucker puts his hands up and it just splits around them.
Right.
We don't know.
Right.
So that's not
that was a heck of a moment. Yeah, that was a heck of a moment.
For I guess the third time we've seen him walk through fire in one way or another. And so, but we know this guy's no joke. And also, this is his first offensive move. He's always just been observing till now. So maybe there's a sense of urgency, like, I need to get involved because it's getting rough out there. Or maybe it's like, y'all need to know what y'all really dealing with. I threw two of them. So everybody gets on Drogon. They even impale the white onto Drogon's spike. I thought that was kind of funny. And
that was awesome.
And this is a great note from you, Morg. Here goes Jon. Get on the dragon, go! And, the essence was he's going to fight off the last couple of them for them to fly away. But he didn't need to do that.
Okay, pause right there. Yeah. Pause right there. You're correct, Castro. He didn't need to do that. Because here's the thing, John. If you're on the dragon, then you're not blocking the path to the white that Drogon can just burn. The only reason he couldn't just turn his head and burn them is because your dumbass was there. Get on the dragon and get out of the way. You're in the way, D. You're in the way. What was the game plan? The
game plan was, I was leading right into you.
I want a song about me.
Danny takes off, and I want y'all to think the second javelin throw was missed because Danny was riding Drogon. Yeah. That's going to lead us to Jon riding his father's namesake dragon, because that'll be able to do those maneuvers. When the dragon's flying by themselves, they might not be paying attention. They might be following the psychic command, and that's why I think he got hit. So I think, and then also, again, unfortunately, by Viserion dying, which I was screaming at the TV about, I was like, no! That eliminates the whole Tyrion's a dragon rider who's going to ride the third dragon. That's
we know who rides the third dragon now.
Right. We definitely know.
It's Jon.
So
Tyrion.
Jon rides the second one. Well,
Jon rides the second. Tyrion gets nothing now. Nothing.
No, Tyrion gets nothing. But we don't all know, and we'll get to that. Who's going to ride the third dragon?
He gets cold.
So he goes down, and I was like, God damn! And he falls into the water, and I was stuck. I said, what the fuck is going on now? Fuck that scorpion shit. This motherfucker with these ice spears and shit.
Right.
And
fuck the scorpion.
Danny takes off. Oh, not only does Danny take off, she sees Jon get tackled into the frozen water, which I had to look up.
Yes.
And you can actually be underwater, cold water, 10 minutes before you freeze and die. So you could actually do it in the time he did it. Am, take it away.
All right. So Jon, he makes it out. And, I mean, it was amazing. I thought he was gone. I thought this was the death we were going to get.
Really?
And, I did. For a second, I thought this was the death we were going to get. Because then it was like, okay, so now the show is back in gotcha mode. Because if Jon is dead, how are we, who's going to fight the Night King? What's going on? It's like, I was just like, wow, man, this, I was like, wow, this, okay. Then when he comes up, I'm like, oh, okay, I like this. I wonder how many people will be angered by this. They just want him dead, Some people get angered by the whole last-minute save, and, he just can't be killed. He's been killed and brought back, so it's a little bit extra with Jon. So we see him, dragging himself past this pack of whites. And I'm like, dude, maybe one of the dragons are going to come back and pick him up. That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Okay.
And lo and behold.
Oh, my
Uncle
God.
Benji!
Oh,
Benjen to the rescue.
Benjen to the
Watch.
rescue.
Hashtag Benjen Watch. And he comes through swinging the little chains and joint from being an altar boy, at the Catholic high school. He's swinging that joint. That's what they do. It's the same thing. He's swinging it, and he's taking these guys to, Benjen for the win. And I thought he didn't have to sacrifice himself. They both could have rode the horse out of there. They both could have.
I thought that too, but also he did fight off them, and they. I noticed the difference was they all focused on Benjen, like they turned into it.
They did. Like they definitely did.
Two left over running after John.
They definitely all focused on Benjen. And then Benjen went down. Now there's some theories I've seen online that Benjen is not dead. He's got that dragon glass in his heart. They said maybe he's been ripped apart and can reanimate and pull himself back together. Here's the thing. He went out like a G. So if Benjen's dead, I'm okay with it. But I prefer that he not be dead. Goes without saying. But, I'm okay with the way he went out. Every time he showed up, he was killing it. Saved Bran, comes back, saves his other nephew, John. It's wonderful. We lost Benjen. We gotta move on. I'm gonna be here too long.
All right, let's keep these wheels spinning.
But no one else has anything on that. No one else is.
No, you were assigned that whole thing for you to do your whole eulogy on Benjen.
What I'm asking is no input from you guys. I'm the only guy that's at the funeral. No one else cares.
He's another swoop in and save the day and get sacrificed all in with a matter of minutes. So he's a plot device, which is cool.
He's a star.
But this is the thing. He's really the Cold Hand storyline. They spent no time on. They spent even less time on the Benjen storyline, especially after season 1. So it's cool to see him back, but it's like, this is like the Seinfeld episode appearance. They just put all the characters in, and they gave and this is actually, I'm not mad at it because this is the only way you could have Benjen come back. But it is still one of those moments. It's a dragon moment. It's an Eagles moment, we call them. But this is the only way you could have kind of had him come back. And he did have to kind of sacrifice himself for John to get over. Remember, John was suffering from the hypothermia from just getting out the water. So he needed the whole horse to ride him all the way back. So,
All right.
But that's my thing on Benjen.
Okay.
So the only thing I have to say about Benjen is fucking called it. Also, Also, I don't think that Benjen dies. What is dead cannot die. If we know.
Oh my goodness.
What?
That's an Ironborn shit.
That is a what?
No.
Benjen, Ironborn saying.
Oh, I know it's an Ironborn saying, but it is a saying, right? What is dead cannot die.
It still rings true. It
still rings true. He is a part of the undead.
A swarm of whites. Just like
he has dragon glass in his heart.
Just like we're waiting for Hodor to be a white. It's just the sheer amount of them. It's not that he got ripped apart, even bitten by one, and he's infected again. It's the amount of him that is going to rip him to little pieces. That's all I'm saying. They all focused on him. If y'all notice, they closed in on him. Nobody ran after John.
Okay. Well, R.I.P. Benjen, if that's the case. I would not put it past a book or a show for Benjen to still be around later. Like, I think that
what point is it? Because he can't. Remember, he can't get through the wall. He can't get through the wall either.
There you go with that again.
Actually sticks. His shit sticks. His shit is worse than the Night King shit with the brand mark. He can't get to the wall. That's why he dropped Brand off the last time.
We got whites. Made through the wall. So let me just on behalf
flew
of
over the
Stark
wall
family, on behalf of House Stark, I want to thank you guys for your kind words. I know Benjen was here; he would appreciate that.
3 episodes, my nigga. 3 fucking episodes you've been in.
If no one is opposed, I would like to suggest a moment of silence.
Who got the next topic?
So we get back to Eastwatch.
Keep it rolling.
So we're back at Eastwatch. Danny is staring longingly from a tower, looking into the white of the world, and Jorah's like, "Hey, boo, it's time to go." And she's like, "Just a couple more minutes. I'm waiting for my real man to come back." And the whole what? What?
So disrespectful.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be real clear. I'm gonna be real clear, real quick. If Jorah is not the definition of a side, I don't know what else is.
Yeah.
Now, what do they call him? Friend zone. Mayor of the friend zone. He's the mayor of the friend zone.
Mayor of the friend zone.
He is the mayor of the friend zone.
Running for re-election. Because he just came
He is absolutely campaigning right now to stay in the friend zone. Because he's not making a move. He's just like, I told you.
Don't forget, he almost fell off the dragon. Don't forget he almost fell off the dragon. George.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Safe. So, he's campaigning to be her best friend forever. And he's like, let's go. And she's like, no, thank you. And he's like, oh, okay, you're the queen. And then the horn goes off. And here we see what is Benjen's what is Benjen's horse's name? Because he has a name,
I thought the
right?
horse was dead, though. Wasn't the horse dead?
I think the horse was dead too.
I just don't remember.
Yeah, me neither.
But okay, so anyway, the Benjen's horse rides up. You see no rider. I don't know if John's underneath the horse. What's happening? So he's laying down dead, and the look on Danny's face was just okay. I can breathe again.
Oh Lord!
But did you see Jorah's face? Did you see Jorah's face?
Yes. And Jorah's face was,
the ball.
Fuck.
The ball back.
He's back.
I missed that scene. I was in the bathroom throwing up violently. So I kind of missed that.
Fair enough. Bring a bowl to the TV next time.
Get it together, Cash.
So she waits, and John comes back. Davos swiftly moves into action. Whips him inside. They start taking his clothes off and trying to get him warm. And she's standing there watching as he's undressed. And the wounds, the slashes and bite marks and all the shit that's all over, like, each and every one of John's abs, there's something. And she's just like, he's going to make it. Look at him. Future father of my non-born children.
Oh, my God.
Look at him.
Tupac back. He's going to make it.
Okay. All right. Too much. Too far.
That's too much?
Too far.
He's too far.
Tupac back.
Okay.
You're done.
Maybe. I don't know. You guys, okay. All right.
So that was a big moment. And then we move back to Winterfell, and I don't know who this one is.
This is Anne.
Wait, back to one. Oh, wait.
Wait.
Sansa finds the faces. Yeah, that's why I gave it to her. Well,
as soon as I saw Sansa in there, I was like, what are you doing? This isn't what you do. You're a dumb person. You're not as smart as Arya or anyone else. What are you doing in the assassin's room? Huh, dummy? Huh, stupid? What you doing? And then, what makes it super sweet, what makes it super sweet is Arya pops up in the room. You don't hear the door open or close.
Okay.
You don't hear
Mind you, that's
none
how
of
she
that.
should have broke into Littlefinger's room. That same not.
Exactly.
You know, like
and
opening the door.
the delight in Arya's face as she's revealing her capabilities to Sansa is just like, oh my God. Yeah, Sansa, she's extremely dangerous. This girl, yeah. Stop playing these games with your sister, man. Stop running the little finger for counsel. Identify the fact that you need to have a real conversation with her. Because she can take you up out of here. She can take you straight up out of here. Oh, man, I loved that shit. I loved all of it. I did not expect her to give her the dagger, though. And I'm not sure what she was trying to communicate there outside of, I could have killed you, but I didn't want to. But here's the dagger. Why leave her with the dagger? What are we doing? Arya,
the dagger might be a lead to Littlefinger.
To protect you against Littlefinger? Right.
No, the dagger might be a lead to Littlefinger. Like, remember that dagger I gave you? I found this other note. Like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
No.
Like that.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right, Castro. It's a lead to Littlefinger to point her, because Arya's probably aware of the conversation Sansa and Littlefinger had.
Right.
Remember when Bran gave Arya the knife, Sansa spoke up immediately. He doesn't give you anything without wanting something in return.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. That was her signal back. Hey, listen. Remember Littlefinger? Stop playing these games. Get out of my room, though. Like, put everything back where you got it. I need them faces. Keep them clean. But, Littlefinger. And she rolled out. Yeah.
Yep. That's the move right there.
So did we all know she was just traveling with faces, though? Did we all think she just had faces in the bag? In her
I assumed. I didn't think she took them from the Hall of Faces. I just assumed she had, acquired a couple of faces, off camera. Because remember, she had that maid's face when she first killed Frey. That was some other face that she was just using. The waif seemed to have a number of faces. I mean, obviously they were over in Essos by the House of Black and White, but I wasn't so surprised when Sansa pulled the faces out. I'll say that much.
I have a prediction for the next face she's going to take. The face of that girl. The face of that girl that was having that back alley conversation with Littlefinger.
Oh,
that's the face.
I don't even think that character has a name, though. But to catch Littlefinger telling her something.
Yeah.
But is she really one of the birds, or was she part of the setup birds to make?
I think she's a setup bird.
You know what I mean? Setup bird.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
I think she was a setup bird.
She was getting his dinner selection.
Yeah.
He made it seem like it was something else.
She was absolutely getting his dinner order, and he made it look like it was some sneaky shit. Yes, that's I think exactly what happened.
Stand here while I order my twice baked potatoes.
Oh, they're
my
so
name
good.
Is Pataya. They say my name is Pataya in the book, but in the show my name is Peter.
Pataya.
No, in the book that's how they pronounce it and everything. Pataya. It's funny as shit. In the audio book, it's all Pataya.
I think it's funny that we haven't heard anyone call him Baelish
in a while, right? I think
God knows how long.
And I remember somebody said it on the pod, and I was like, "Who are we talking about now?" And I just think, "Oh shit!" But I don't call him Littlefinger either. Y'all call him Littlefinger. I call him Baelish. I think I'm the one that does it because I remember y'all saying Littlefinger, and I hate the nickname because God, it's so slimy.
Oh, it's an awful nickname. That's why I use it because he's an awful, slimy little shit. So you're Littlefinger. You don't get to be Patire, and you don't get to be Peter, and you don't get to be a Baelish. You ain't shit. No. Use a Littlefinger.
Right.
Yeah.
Ahead,
so I just don't want to skip past a couple of the things that happened in that conversation with them. Because is that the moment then that she says, because that happened earlier, I think. Anyway, there's a moment when Arya says to Sansa, what would little Lyanna Mormont say?
Yeah, because
that was earlier.
She's the age.
What would she say? She's younger. No, she said she was younger. She's younger than you were back then. What would she say about that fucking letter? So I think that was earlier. That was earlier. And I just thought it was later. So my bad on the timeline of that. But But that was such a moment of, yeah, all of this back and forth is cool, and everybody had a shitty life. But and when you talking about you was a kid, but look at her. What would she have done?
Right. Ooh,
you think she would have wrote that letter? She certainly wouldn't have wrote that letter.
She would have died, yo.
So to get back on track to this particular scene, to watch Arya again, cold, calculated, total assassin, just, I'm here to intimidate the fuck out of you. Why are you in my room? Why are you in my shit? This is not your realm. That's what I do. This isn't what you do. You're a lady. Go be a lady. And then hits her with the game of faces. And we're gonna talk about you're gonna give me how does it go? 2 lies and make me think it's the truth or something. Now I'm gonna fuck.
Oh
this up.
yeah. But no, the game was just you tell me things, trying to make them all time true in a minute.
Yeah, and she can pick out the lie, right? Which the one thing I found annoying in that moment, and I'm likely wrong now that I'm going to say this, and then I think that the dagger thing takes away my annoyance. But the whole time watching that, I'm thinking Arya's supposed to be smarter than this. She's supposed to be the one that can pick out the truth and the lie. She got trained for that. So when Sansa's like, I didn't write that letter, like those weren't my words, I was forced to, it never seemed like she believed her. It was just like, so anyway. You know what I mean? So when you go into that game of faces and it's like, are you picking up anything? Like, is any of this, do you feel like any of what she's saying is true? Because I feel like you're missing it, or you're just here to intimidate the fuck out of her, which she certainly did. Sansa was shook. Sansa was
Daddy.
so shook.
It was awesome.
But she still spoke up for herself.
She absolutely did.
Yeah.
No question. But also scared as shit. Fully scared as shit. Like, that was the moment of like, oh, she is dangerous. And she's giving me no leeway. Like, she was like, Sansa said, you couldn't have dealt with what I dealt with. I went, I struggled through things that there's no way you could.
There's truth in that. Yeah, there's truth in that.
On both sides.
But the flip side, okay, let's not many sides this, but the flip side to it is.
I even repeated it.
Did.
On both sides. Excuse me. On both sides. There was some bad news over there. Some bad news.
So the flip side of that is that there's no way Sansa could have gone through any of the shit that Arya did either. So the tit for tat without telling you what exactly it is, I think is ridiculously corny. You guys are going to have to tell each other what your life has been like, or we need to stop talking about it. Because that's been this entire fucking season. The reunions of everyone has been like, man, this shit been crazy. You like pie?
Right.
You're just not going to talk about it? For real?
Right.
Okay.
Another interesting thing in that
we certainly don't get to use it. We don't get to use it as weapons. Like, you couldn't have withstood my life. Yeah, well, I don't fucking know what you went through.
Right. You don't know my life.
Arya's like, Arya's like, well, I don't know. I got a great imagination. Maybe I could imagine the shit. What you got?
Right.
And they're both like, so anyway, pie? What the fuck?
But remember, I totally forgot. When she first noticed Arya in the room, Sansa's first response, I can have these boys on you. Everyone here is loyal to me. I can have these boys on you. Arya was like, but they're not here now. I said, oh.
Hello. Bye.
Ooh. Oh, you going to go get your cousins, but they're not here now.
Lady that, Miss Stark.
Right.
Right.
Oh, you got that thing in the trunk? You got that thing in the trunk? That's outside.
Oh, yo, something just hit me, y'all. She's Lady Stark. They killed Lady in the first season. Little connection there. Little.
I see it.
I mean, Mighty Cut making a point. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we move to the boat.
Oh,
we're on the boat, and
quick.
This is Castro's favorite part.
My stomach is bubbling.
I'm going to rip the Band-Aid and just get right to it. They're on the boat. Jon wakes up to Daenerys sitting there. They smize at each other for quite some time. They're holding hands. Jon's like, I'm so sorry. I can't believe we did that dumbass thing. That was so dumb of us to do. And she's like, no worries, buddy, because we're going to be together. You can do no wrong right now. Yeah.
Slowly dying.
I know, I'm so sorry. We have back and forth, and then he calls her Danny, and she's like, what? What? Nobody calls
she
me
hasn't
Danny.
been called that in a long time.
She was like, I can't remember the last person who called me that. Was it my brother? Yeah. Was it a dog? I'm not sure. And he's like,
Nobody even
how
called
about
me Danny like that, though.
Jordan did when Jordan was copping a plea. He called her Danny. I think.
Oh,
no,
I think you're right.
But I think one of the copping pleas scenes, because he had like 3 of them. He called her
Danny,
Danny.
Please, Danny, please. Well, Jon levels the fuck up and says, "How about my queen?"
Hotep. You went straight Hotep. Yeah.
And I would bend the knee, but I'm laying down and I can't move. So I hope these words do it for you.
Man.
And Danny starts to cry or get choked up and says, I hope I deserve it.
When your aunt is proud of their nephew, they cry.
It was a proud auntie moment. He graduated. Right there. Oh my God, that was
graduated Dragon Vocational School. Patted him on the back. Gave him $50 inside of a card and a Macy's gift certificate.
Gift card. Yes.
Shout out to Rod Sunji. He comments on the podcast Instagram account. He lives for these moments, Castro. I'm sorry. He lives for these moments.
He's constantly talking about. He is the speaking of Rod, he's the special guest, and I have a couple of questions for him.
From him.
Okay. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. We're almost there.
Yeah.
All right.
So Jon bends the knee. She cries. I hope I deserve it. He says, you definitely do. Duh, auntie. You great. You the best.
You deserve more. But
you deserve more, and by more, I mean babies with me. And she's like,
hello.
I can't really have babies, and that's why the dragons are so important, because those are my babies. And he's like, we'll see. They hold hands a little more.
Yeah.
And then, even though he just woke up, she's like, you should get some rest. So that's where we leave Danny and Jon on the boat before they have sex and get pregnant.
But then he went to play sleep, though. You see that?
He did. He definitely went to play sleep. He took a play nap. But I do just want to make the point.
He is like tired. He probably can just go right back to sleep. You know, when you're in the hospital, you can just kind of.
Castro, when she left the room, he opened his eyes again like, damn, that was my moment. He opened his eyes.
So I just want to make the point that I feel like this particular episode was hammering home so many different Jon and Danny pregnancy things. You know, like they continuously bring up, her inability, her thoughts that she's unable to have children. Tyrion, part of his fuck up was talking, we need to talk about a successor today. Tyrion, I've never sat on the throne. Suck a dick real quick. That cannot be the priority at the moment.
You see how he be messing up?
He'd be messing up. But they keep hammering in these ideas, like Jorah said to Jon with Longclaw, like, no, you keep it. You'll give it to your kids.
Yep.
There's something there, is all I'm saying. So we can move on to the very end.
Jorah going to be salty when he find out who he going to have kids with, though. Jorah going to be heated.
Jorah already knows that he has no actual shot. So you have to understand, he is resigned to he's not making any moves. He's resigned to the friend zone. Literally came back, was like, my queen, I'm back for you. Oh, who the fucking bull? God damn it. Okay. All right. I'm here to serve you, and we'll see. Like, he's not making moves, and he's not, like, giving her the eyes or anything like that. He's just like, I'm just going to lay in wait.
Which is what they do.
That dude. Which is what they do.
Yeah.
He's that dude. He's just waiting for everybody else to fall off.
Yeah.
But he knows. He
sees
it just like everybody else does. He sees it, and he thinks he can wait it out.
So, it's one of those episodes where you think you're at the end, but you're not. And then you see all these big, heavy-duty chains. And I started saying no at the television screen maybe 100 times. No. Just like Get Out. No. I got my hands on my head, pulling out what little hair I have left. And I'm screaming, no. Please no. They are not pulling this fucking dragon up for him to resurrect. No fucking way. Please no. They keep pulling. They pull him right out of the water. The Night King walks right up to him. He says, oh, this is nice. Just like how they rob me in New York. It's real polite. Oh, that's a nice hat. Yo, let me see that. Let me see that. Oh, this is my hat. Oh, thank you. Thanks. This is nice.
Thank you.
This is my hat. Yep. And
let me reel your bike real quick.
And now this motherfucker has a damn ice.
A whole dragon. A whole dragon.
Dude. A whole dragon.
And I'd like to slide right into predictions.
Now, hold on.
Now that he has a dragon. Oh, Lord.
I was going to say, hold on now. I don't think any of us were surprised at this development. We've discussed ice dragons and how it can happen.
Yeah.
We've been discussing this for a season.
Forever.
Yeah. So when that
that
dragon went down into the water, I think all of us were at that point like, oh shit. This might could happen.
Because he fell into the water, I didn't think about it. Because he fell,
I totally did.
That was surprising.
When he fell in the water, I was like, one of them needs to burn him to now. You got to burn him, or he's his. Burn him.
Now,
and the moment that didn't happen, we know for sure that's going to be an ice dragon. There's no question.
So what do we say about the dragon turning anyway just because it died versus the Night King personally walking up and animating this dragon?
All right, well, let's just say in that sense, if he turned, he would have just stayed under the water because he fell down there. I don't think we would have been chasing anything because there's no stimuli. That's another thing, being a zombie-ish, you notice that if there's no stimuli, they don't really do anything. Same thing with the polar bear, was kind of just walking around out there. Yep.
That's what happened to the three-eyed raven. No, you're right. That's what happened. Those whites came out of the earth. They were there the whole time.
They were just sitting there.
But they popped up.
Dormant, just waiting. Right.
Yeah, you're right.
So stimuli is a big thing. So that's the difference. And also he has main control of the dragon, whether he wants to ride it, slide it. So this is what's going to happen, y'all. So there's a big debate on whether it's going to breathe fire or it's going to breathe ice. If it breathes ice, that would be dope to see. But I don't think it's going to breathe ice. I think it's going to be a compromise. It's going to breathe blue fire. And this is why.
Fire.
We're not even going to see him do it. The last scene of the next episode will be the dragon coming out the forest, going right up to the wall, opening its mouth with a blue glow, and it's going to go right to black. Because this motherfucker's going to burn down the wall using the dragon. There you have it right there, ladies and gentlemen. But we're not going to deal with the ramifications of that until next season, but he's going to use the dragon to burn down the wall. Now fly over it, burn down the wall, so his whole legion can get through, and then Winterfell will be next.
I'm not mad at that. Okay. It's better than the
predictions,
and then the wall falling. I like that.
Of course. As I'm saying, the horn is not around. But y'all do y'all predictions, and then we'll do these questions.
I didn't think I think this is it for the White Walkers. I do like
your idea of us seeing the dragon eliminating the wall and then fading to black. I didn't see anything in the previews that indicated we're going to get any walkers next episode. So I was pretty much cool with us playing catch up. What's going to happen at King's Landing, and because the idea of Cersei going along with Tyrion's plan because Tyrion figured out a way to convince her is more of Tyrion's foolishness.
Okay.
And Cersei already showed that. Cersei is going to agree to work with them because she already has that as part of her game plan to get close to Daenerys so she can kill her. She already told Jaime that. So this is another example of Tyrion thinking he has the great plan, and I'm going to be witty and charming and convince my sister against everything she's ever wanted to do before. And he's going to get a sense of relief and a sense of encouragement out of Cersei agreeing with this game plan. Only to realize later, guess what? You're probably almost going to get Dany killed.
She'd be lying.
So, who'd be lying? Cersei? Oh, all day, all night.
Yeah.
All day, all night.
Cersei be lying.
She'd be the lioness liar. So, I like what they showed us in the trailer for next episode. Everyone coming to the big meeting. I think that's like my main. Oh, also they did show us Grey Worm and Dothraki at Highgarden. That is going to be amazing. That's going to be amazing.
Well, they're not at Highgarden. I think they're at this neutral meeting spot. Because remember,
no, they were in a castle.
Go with both
they were in a castle. They were in
a broken down Coliseum.
No. That's totally separate scenes. Totally separate scenes.
Oh,
yeah, they were having the meeting. They were having the meeting in the Coliseum. But where Grey Worm and the Dothraki were, they were approaching it. They were outside of a castle, and Bronn was there with Jaime. So Jaime was at the meeting, then he hopped on a boat bus, went over there with Bronn, like
like he does,
doing what they do, like he does,
like they do, like they do.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that next episode.
I don't know that I have any predictions that you guys don't have. I mean, I have questions more than anything else.
Okay.
And my questions are, so, Ice Dragon, can Bran warg it? Can he at least distract it so that the other two can do what they need to do? How the fuck do you kill the Night King? And I agree. I don't think we'll see them the rest of this season. I think that they'll, we'll get back to that. I think that Cersei, the show tries to make Cersei the biggest villain, so she's going to be the biggest villain for now.
Right.
And I don't have predictions. I just had are Arya and Sansa, which one of them is going to finally be like, this fucking guy, and handle that whole cat fight that's happening between them. I think that's corny and it's a distraction of some sort. But I'm excited to see this tribunal. I want to see that. I'm excited to see that meeting and see how that plays out, and how Cersei is going to do her very best to play the fuck out of everybody. And I don't think that we will get any sort of hounded mountain action like Clegane Bowl, but I do think that, it'll be neat that they'll see each other because they got to be in the same place.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll get that Clegane Bowl either.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but it will be neat to see them see each other. And
definitely.
Yeah, that's what I got.
So, as far as Bran warging the Ice Dragon, I don't see it. I don't think it's possible. Only because he could barely keep a hold of his ravens around the Night King. Bran just don't got it yet. If you were
So
maybe
Yeah, but
you
next
think
season
that
is next season.
you think the Ravens? Yeah, but you think
but
the
next
Ravens
season is
flying
3
with,
years later.
but the three-eyed Raven said, you know what I mean, you're gonna fly. So that has to come to some type of fruition.
Right.
Whether it be ice
It
dragon
already has.
or
It already has.
yeah, I don't think that.
As
I
in
don't think that
Ravens?
was the. Yeah,
That's
I
not
don't
big
think
enough
that
to
was
talk about.
That's not the embodiment of what he was saying. That's not. Come
That
on.
isn't big enough to
please.
talk about.
Like, come on, man.
I need you guys to give me.
No.
I need you guys to give me the scenario where the kid that can't walk. Is this How to Train Your Dragon? Someone hooks him. They make harnesses for him, and what's happening? What's happening?
But it has to be that, or
What do you mean?
maybe it's Eagles.
The
maybe
warg.
it's Eagles more. Maybe it's Eagles. Maybe because there are. Remember whatchamacallit?
Yeah.
The other warging dude, he was controlling the Eagles to dive bomb John.
Okay.
That's why John got them started.
Right.
So.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. I just
right.
don't think it's Ravens. I'll just say that. I don't think it's Ravens.
I'm with you on that.
And I just want to be clear, Ambush, that I don't think that Bran is going to get on top of a dragon and fly a dragon.
Good.
I don't
I'm glad
think
you said that to him. You need to say that
I mean,
out loud.
I didn't know that I needed to say that out loud when I said can
Definitely.
he warg it. But I don't think that Bran lives in a tree, and I don't think he gets on top of a dragon. But what I do think is it is possible for him to intercept at some point. I'm not saying warg the dragon and turn him back into their ally all the way. I mean, like, can you distract him for long enough that the other ones can take you out, or can get something else done in a very short amount of time? I mean.
Yeah, I see it going that way. All right, let's get to these questions.
All right, give us questions.
So we have guest questions from Brad the Sun God. He says, when did the whites learn to swim to go from drowning on sight to attaching chains to poor Vissy? I guess that question answers itself.
Say it again. But wait, what was the question? When did they?
It's a joke question. It's like, when did the whites learn to swim to go from drowning on sight to attaching chains to poor Viserion?
I have an answer.
Yes.
That is a funny question, but I have an answer. They lost however many thousands of whites that first, the beginning of that battle, where they, the ice crushed underneath them, and they just fell in. So what we do know is that those fuckers can come back out from either underground or the water. So weren't those just down there waiting to get the chains? Now, how the fuck they got the chains? I don't know. Did they pull those from Hardhome? I mean,
Second question it is, and where the fuck did that big ass chain come from?
So
I wasn't mad at it.
I did see someone say. I did see someone say possibly from Hardhome. Now,
I agree.
Going back to the first question, I was wondering how they got the chain around the dragon as well to hoist it up. And who was it that was being attacked? Tormund was being attacked. Those were whites that were in the water that came out and grabbed him.
Right.
Yeah. So them being underwater doing whatever needs to be done is a non-issue. Drop the chains down, they wrap it around the dragon. It's no big deal. It doesn't matter. It's not like they need to breathe at all. So that I was never had an issue with that. As far as where the chains came from,
I will go.
As far as where the chains came from, now we've been talking about ice dragons forever, based on the history and lore. Now we got to remember, history and lore isn't books. History and lore is based on the show. So anything we see in history and lore is relevant. So we've known about ice dragons before. We just didn't know how they were created. Were they dragons made of ice, or were they dragons turned like we just saw?
Right.
So now we know there were dragons that were turned. The Night King has been fighting man for thousands of years. If he knows that there's dragons in existence, I'm going to catch me a dragon. It wasn't strange for me to see these chains. If your intention is to get some more ice dragons again, like you did before, because that's how you fight with ice dragons.
But no, also I just want to make an
Except for
addendum. Well, Night King has been dormant for 100 years. I just wanted to put that out there.
Even more than
this last long summer. Well, this last long summer, he's been like a figment, of people's imagination. But go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
To go with what Am is saying, first of all, let me be clear that I don't care how they got the chains. This is not a thing that I'm going to get caught up on. However, when a question is posed, then more questions arise, right? So how'd they get the chains? Am says he knows he needs to catch a dragon, and he may very well need to drag it out of the water. He may need the chains, which then means that this army of the dead is carrying around these chains everywhere they go. That, to me, is far less believable than finding some chains, the chains being down, what the fuck ever. Like, that is not feasible for me, that these guys are just dragging around the chains, waiting on the hope and prayer that a dragon shows up with the javelin.
I got something.
Maybe the chains were on the giants as adornments, and they just linked them together to use to pull the dragon out.
Here's the thing.
I like that.
I don't know why. That could work. But also, as far as are they just bringing the chains with them? We saw the White Walkers with one spear each. Are we to believe that once they throw those spears, they don't have more spears?
Okay.
No, but they may not have them on.
What I'm saying is these guys, they've already shown us. Again, this isn't just about the horde. I'm sure they have supplies of whatever they need. They're moving with that because this isn't a scouting party. They're coming to take all of Westeros over. So whatever they need, they're moving with that. They got scouts in front of them. You know what I'm saying? They have a scouting party in front of them. They're moving like an actual
just like you would travel with a mule, with a pack mule that would have equipment, just like any other army. But
I guess you throw all of that in there, and I think where the fuck are your giants to just go in there and grab it? I don't know. Like I said, one question begets another.
Right.
One question, you go down that rabbit hole of how could this actually work. That can't be your mindset with this show. Part of it is fantasy. It's just that simple.
And part of it is accepting its ending.
But you brought up a good point just now.
To have that type of storytelling. But go ahead.
Where we saw the horde. We know they have ice giants. Where are the ice giants?
Right. Hanging out.
When he had the vision, when Kuzane had the vision, he saw the ice giant. So is there another part of the horde somewhere else?
Again.
Well, maybe I think the Night King is strategic and very duplicitous, as Am would like. So they didn't need the giants for that mission, whatever that was, because, they were just marching. And there's way more of them. There's more behind them. There's more behind them, and there's more behind them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. So, but he did see them. The Lord of the Light did show him giants in that vision.
Right.
When they were near the wall. So, God knows what else they got out there. Well, you got any more questions?
No, I think that's it. I think we wrapped up. So, we
fantastic recap, gents.
I think that went really well.
Thanks for the questions, Rob.
Shout out to Afro. Hope she's getting better. I know we wanted to do a video.
So better, boo. I love you.
I think next week, just more the same. Another great podcast. I have no name. That rhyme. I just did that. And
because you're a rapper.
I'm a rapper. And I think we're in for a great episode. I don't think this is gonna be just a normal dry season ending episode with a lot more narrative. I think we're in for some fireworks. That's what I think.
I think that's accurate. This whole season's been fireworks, man. Because of the pace of where we are, it's been fireworks.
Yeah.
80-minute episodes. This is the top three seasons? Top three seasons for y'all? I think so. To me, this season.
Let's talk about that after we're done.
All right.
I'm gonna reserve my judgment until next episode.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Signing off. This is Curly Castro.
DJ Ambush.
Morg.
This podcast has no name.
A podcast
has no name.
Has no name.
Has no name.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.